Oh, we're gonna do it again. Had a good night's sleep. I hope you all have too. Yeah. We're gonna do it again. I think that this conversation deserves uh another live stream. I think it does. I think that there are many myths that need to be busted, and I'm willing to discuss it with anybody here live on the ain't shit, George. Ivan ain't shit. What's good with y'all? George, good morning. Jakal, good morning. Time for the morning coffee. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Let's wait for the list to populate. Chilling. But yeah, I wanted to continue the discussion that we was having yesterday. I wanted to continue that discussion because, like I said, I think that there's a lot of myths that need to be busted. I think that there's a lot of angles of that conversation that don't normally get covered because people get emotional when it comes to Pacquiao. That's a fair point, Dave Hemmings. It's not like he had a bunch of fights abroad. That's a fair point. But at the same time, does fighting abroad does fighting someone abroad, somewhere else in the world, does that change the level of competition that the fighter had? Whether you're fighting them in America or you're fighting them in England or somewhere else in the world, it's who's inside of the ring with you that's important. Mayweather was the A side for a good chunk of his career, so obviously he didn't have to do a lot of traveling. But does that actually change that he was fighting the best fighters at his time? I'd appreciate that, Jacob. Because look, Oscar didn't do a lot of traveling either. Oscar De La Hoya. It's not like Oscar De La Hoya did a whole lot of traveling either, but he fought the best fighters at his time, and he didn't do a lot of traveling. You didn't miss much, dog. What you missed was H Money trying to get on the show, being a troll, and you missed the argument between me and somebody who looked like they was drunk. Because now that I've seen it again, it looks like the guy was drunk. But yeah, like I'm taking all questions. Anybody that want to come on the platform and discuss it, here is a link in the description box. We didn't get nowhere with the discussion yesterday. You got to be mature enough to have the discussion. Really, honestly, you got to be mature enough to have the discussion. Because if all you're going to give me is an opinion, I can't do nothing with your opinion. I cannot do nothing with that. I need facts. I can't do nothing with an opinion. Yeah, like the dude was drunk, Courtney. Like now that I've seen it again, I'm like, well, no wonder this dude was bugging out. He was drinking. Like he was sitting in his car by himself drinking. One minute he says he's in New York, the next minute he says he's in Florida. I'm like, bro, that dude was drunk, bro. If you too immature to have that kind of discussion, then don't have it. Because the internet tough guy shit is corny. What I'm going to say is the reason that it's a sensitive subject to some is because they can't substantiate what they're saying with simple fucking facts. That's when you start seeing people get sensitive about it. I don't know, but I know that dude, now that I've seen it, I didn't realize, the whole time this dude was talking, he's sitting there drinking whatever he was drinking, but he was drinking some shit. I'm like, well, no wonder he came on here bugging out. Gonna get to the meat and potatoes of the discussion. Like, when you sitting there drinking, having an alcoholic fit, no wonder you gonna bug out. All right, the topic is Ryan Garcia made a comment very recently, right, Unbiased? And he said that he feels that Manny Pacquiao had a better legacy than Floyd. Now, I don't agree with that. I don't necessarily agree that Manny had a better legacy than Floyd for a few reasons. For starters, um, Manny seems to get more credit for beating guys that Floyd beat after Floyd beat them. And that's bizarre. That is bizarre. I also agree with you there too, actual, that if we're gonna act like Mayweather ducked every single fighter that he didn't fight, if you're gonna sit here and tell me, for example, that he ducked Amir Khan and Paul Williams and Antonio Margarito, I could turn right around and tell you that Manny Pacquiao been ducking Terrence Crawford for 4 years. That's why I never, like I like, I'm gonna put it this way. I don't hold it against Manny for every single fighter that he didn't fight, because I already know off top that's asking a lot. And I'm not talking about his age. I'm talking about, how do you expect these two guys in particular to have fought every single fucking person that was active while they was fighting? That standard in and of itself is unrealistic, because most boxers don't fight every single person that was around. I wouldn't say that Loma beat a better version of Pedraza than Tank. I don't see what was better about Pedraza. Like, I cannot agree with that. And bear in mind, you already know I don't like Tank, Amok. You already know I don't like Tank. But if somebody tells me, okay, Vasil Lomachenko fought a better version of Jose Pedraza than Javante did, okay, what made him better? Yeah, link's right here. Anybody that want to chop it up about this shit, the link is right here. Okay, if you say that Pedraza was weight drained, at what point did you realize that he was weight drained? Was he struggling to make 130? Because he was a champion, he was undefeated. So tell me when you realized that he's weight drained. We're gonna do this again, Mark.
Hold on. We're gonna do what again? I just seen the link.
We're gonna have the same discussion, and we're gonna be productive.
Okay.
Now, I'm gonna ask you a question.
Okay.
You heard what Ryan Garcia said, right?
No, I've read what he said.
All right, you read what he said, and
Yeah.
do you agree with his contention?
I don't have an opinion on it.
So you don't.
I don't have an opinion on another man's opinion.
No. About their legacies. About their legacies. Who would you say had the better legacy?
Evens, roughly evens.
Yeah,
They're split by a fight the whole way, pretty much. I mean, one has one more Hall of Famer. The other dude has one more Rings magazine title. One has one more world title fight victory than the other. I mean, then it goes down into preference points when you pick apart 54 in Pacquiao's favor, or you pick apart 30 and 35 in featherweight in comparison to what Floyd did in the 135s to 140s, in comparison to what Pac did with Barrera, Morales, etc. And fighters like that, you start nitpicking too much. It's pretty much evens that way. Floyd has the best win between the two of them because he beat the other best guy in the entire era in Pacquiao. So that's obviously going to be a notable contention, but I'd rate it just about evens. They're both certifiable dons and the two greatest fighters of the last 40 years.
But see, that's for me, the fact that, remember, the fight between them was supposed to settle it. And that's why I always go back to my contention that it's ever since Floyd was given a decision in that fight, it seems like a lot of people have been looking for ways to diminish that victory as if it didn't happen, by saying that, oh, Pacquiao has a better legacy than Floyd does. And I'm like, well, no, he doesn't. They were both the most accomplished guys of their time. They were the number one and number two consensus number one and number two pound for pound fighters of their time. They met, they fought, and what seals the deal is that, you know what, Floyd beat Manny. That has to count for something.
It does. I mean, I guess it does. I mean, I'm not for one who settles, who's a greater fighter between people just based off of one beating another. Ezra Charles and Archie Moore rings a bell. Archie Moore's overall in-depth resume is stronger than Archie Moore's overall resume is slightly stronger than Ezra's. So you can flip them around wherever you want, 6 through 10, 11, wherever you want. That's not something I specifically do. If someone wants to, they can. I mean, I wouldn't go into an all-time ranking with Orlando Salido and Lomachenko and say, well, Salido's better because he has this victory.
And that's a fair point. But I look at it like this, okay? And I made that point in a previous video that I made. It's not simply beating the guy because Esteban de Jesus beat Duran, but he don't got a fucking legacy like Duran. All you really did do was beat Roberto Duran. So the difference between Floyd and Manny's situation is that they are on par with each other. They were the two most accomplished guys of their time. They were the consensus number one and number two pound for pound fighters in the sport. And the fight between them was intended to settle it because they both had a lot of achievements. They were both very accomplished. So when two very accomplished fighters fight and one of them wins, it should count for something, especially when you have so many common opponents.
It counts for it definitely counts for something. Does it make up the difference in weight leap? That's another thing because weight leap, as you know yourself, comes into anything that goes into pound for pound greatest of all time.
That's true.
Pacquiao's weight leap and disparity of weights is arguably one of the top 10 of all time. When even going back to the 1900s, when you had guys going from fly all the way up, you know, outside of a select few group of guys, very few people go from light flyweight to 154.
That's true.
And win titles. Very few. So that's where these are. That's why I'm null and void on it. I think they cancel each other out. I really do. I think Pacquiao was ahead of Floyd in the legacy department going into that fight, and when Floyd beat him, it all became null and void.
I agree with that to a degree. I mean, that's fair because, okay, Manny was a champion in more weight classes than Floyd, but it's almost like I feel that where every other fighter's career blemishes are counted against their legacies, Manny Pacquiao's the only fighter I see that, no, his career blemishes don't count against his legacy. And this is most any other fighter. The losses matter just as much as the victories.
Well, one of the things with Pacquiao, and as fans, and I don't get it, is he's never lost a fight that he hasn't been knocked out in. That's something I don't get. I just don't get it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. The dude has 7 losses. Deal with it.
I agree.
Outside of the murderer on the run, Toro Campo, the fugitive on the run, outside of him, he hasn't lost to a bad fighter. People will be like, he didn't lose to Jeff Horn. Hey, maybe you didn't see it that way. A few people did. How did you score the fight?
And I agree. No, I agree with you. Because I'm like, look, I know myself. I didn't score it for Jeff. I scored it for Manny. But the problem is that the fight was actually close enough that, you know what? Maybe you can give it to Jeff. Maybe you can. You know, because it wasn't decisive. It wasn't just, oh, Manny's just fucking him up. No, Jeff was making it competitive. And if it was any other fighter, remember that Jeff Horn was viewed as a cherry pick. He was viewed as a cherry pick. Call it what it is. So for you to go in there with a cherry pick and the fight ends up looking like that, and when it's over, you don't have your belt anymore. Okay, if that wasn't Manny Pacquiao, if that was anybody else, it would be counted against their legacy. But because it's Manny, we're supposed to act like it didn't happen.
Fair. Floyd has no blemishes on his resume. Official blemishes. There's only one fight that I personally hold kind of a blemish on. And that's a personal thing. That's the Jose Luis Castillo 1 fight. And I think a lot of people hold that. I think that's a consensus view that Floyd lost that fight.
That's a fight
more than any other view.
Castillo. That's a fight that could have went either way.
I'll say that the reason I don't spend a lot of time on the Castillo fight, right? And I like, if somebody tells me they scored it for Castillo, I'm not gonna lose my mind over that, because you know what, you look bad in that fight. But my thing is, okay, a lot of fighters have had a fight like that. Oscar De La Hoya had a fight like that. A lot of guys have had a fight like that where, you know what, it was a close fight. It some people scored it for the other guy, but what rights the wrong is that he actually gave the guy the rematch. And he won the rematch decisively.
He did. I will say though, let's be more fair. It's not that some people thought Castillo won the fight. Nearly everyone did. Like a lot of people. It was like an 85% swing across media.
No, and I can accept that, because I think of that, right? And the parallel for it, I would say a modern parallel for it is Canelo and Golovkin. After the first fight, a lot of people thought Golovkin won the fight. Okay, you had the rematch. The rematch was close too, but you know what? If you scored it for Canelo, I see where it could have happened. And that rights the wrong a little bit, because all right, you had the second fight. You won the second fight. It's like every top shelf fighter I notice has a fight like that.
Yep. Even the boxing greats. I was about to say the same thing. Like a lot of these fighters have had gifts, bro. I mean, that's just the reality of the sport. They've had gifts given to them. And the fact that we talk about Floyd and the one gift, because they could have gave that Floyd could have lost that fight easy on the cards and shit. But again, one fight out of all of the rest of them, where if you look at some of these other greats, you're going to see more than one fight probably. But I will say this, though. I always talk about that Manny Pacquiao and Jeff Horn, because people talk about, okay, Manny Pacquiao's been through wars, this, that, and the third, but look at these guys in comparison to age. Like, you look at their age, okay? What would Floyd have done to Jeff Horn? I mean, let's be honest. I don't even give a fuck how big Jeff Horn is.
That's a good question.
What would Floyd have done to Jeff Horn? He would have beat the shit out of him.
Well, I think so too, but I also think styles do make fights, and I think Manny Pacquiao's style is less suited to a guy like Horn than Floyd's. I really do, because Pacquiao, to some extent, he does require a bit of physicality in the ring. He does. It's not just boxing. And where with Floyd, he'll just jab, move on Horn. Horn won't be able to cut the ring off. Styles make fights in that.
But I guess
that's the.
Go ahead, Gonzalo.
Oh, go ahead, G. Go
ahead, Gonzalo.
I think Pacquiao. Well, the two opponents. I think they got two opponents, maybe three. I think it's two that Pacquiao has fought. He's beat him more convincingly, as far as like aggressively. But one thing I was gonna mention, who's fought more world champions and future
Floyd.
Hall of Famers? Floyd. But Pacquiao has fought those world champions multiple times. He's fought them like in a combined total of 12. If you put Bradley, Marcus, Barrera, and Morales, it's like fighting 4 future Hall of Famers, world champions on 12 different occasions. Now, should those 12 different occasions just count as 12 different opponents? Probably not. But it's just a way to explain kind of sort of one way to look at it.
I'm gonna give you a parallel. Right?
Real quick, Jay. You could say that, Gonzalo. You could say that, but also recognize that there's 2 losses within there. Marquez knocked his ass out, and Bradley beat.
When you were mentioning when you were mentioning with Ring IQ right now about that losses count, would you say he bested those guys though? That he bested Morales, Barrera, Bradley, and possibly Marcus?
If we get into my opinion, right? There's what's on record, but look at the third Marquez fight. I scored that fight for Marquez, bro. I scored that fight for Marquez.
I'm included in that, but I'm an admitted Marquez fanboy.
No, and I was a Marquez fan too, but look, it was close enough that I saw Marquez win that fight. If we're gonna get into opinion, but if we're gonna stick to the facts, okay, about 10 or 11 of the fights on your resume are against the same 3 guys. So we can't treat that as if that's 12 different guys that you beat. No, that's the same 3 guys, bro. Barrera.
Would it be harder or would it be easier to face that tough fighter I'm asking.
I would say it would be easier because now you know what you're dealing with. You know what
Yep.
you're dealing with. You have the experience
And-
from the previous fight to bring into the next fight. Whenever Floyd had a rematch, he won the rematch more decisively than he did the first fight.
Exactly.
With
And
Manny,
what I was about to say was like, go ahead, Jay.
no, go ahead,
Jay.
D. Go ahead, D.
I was going to just say this, like, just piggybacking off of what Jay said. You look at Fury Tyson, okay? Tyson Fury and Wilder. I meant the first fight, decision, whatever. Second fight, he comes in there, he destroys him. A boxer, a guy with a boxing mind, is going to learn his opponent fight after fight after fight. A boxing mind. And since we're making the comparison, I mean, the talk is about these two guys. You have to look at all of that. Floyd's boxing mind would not allow these guys to come back and beat him. He's going to come back and beat them more impressively. And then when you talk about the 12 fights that that he fought, again, my point is that we definitely can't say it's like he beat 12 guys because he lost 2 of those fights. He got knocked out in one of them. Floyd never lost a fight. That has to account for something. He never lost.
Exactly. I'm glad you said that because that's the point that I'm trying to get at, and it's an elusive point. It's not just Floyd was undefeated. It's Floyd was undefeated against the same as, if not a better level of competition than you, because he beat you. That has to count for something when he's fighting the same caliber of fighters. He's fighting the same caliber of fighters that you are, but he's not getting knocked out. He doesn't have the career blemishes that you do. You have 7 of them. One of them is against him. Another one is against a guy that you fought already 3 fucking times. But we're gonna act like like I said, we're gonna act like, oh, Manny's resume is, or his legacy is better than Floyd's. And I'm like, it seems like that opinion comes from hold up.
Those losses were real close, though. The Morales one fight, that was a good fight. It was a good fight. And not only was it a close fight, I guess it has to count to something when it's a good, exciting fight and it's close.
But I'll say, look, he lost the first Marquez fight, right, Gonzalo? He lost that shit.
He tied, and they got it wrong on the scorecards. Where if they would have, that one judge, because there were like 3 knockdowns in the first round, I think they scored it at 10.
Marquez down like 3 times. That's what I mean. He knocked Marquez down like 3 times in the first round.
So that should have been a 6-9 or a 7-10 because one judge had it wrong, and if they would have tallied that up right, Pacquiao would have won.
Okay, let me respond to something that I see in the comments. Box says Floyd is TUE. How do you guys feel about the injections that Floyd used to get in his hands? It's legal in Las Vegas at the end of the day, but how do y'all feel about that?
Yeah, he had hand issues.
Yeah, he had hand. I mean, that's why he got those
legal,
because he had hand issues.
Man.
Because you would be subjected to pain when you're punching. So I mean, you're just not feeling the pain, but it's not like you're hitting harder.
Exactly.
I don't think.
Thank you.
I have one rule. Always have one rule. If it's within the confines of the rules, it's within the confines of the rules.
Yeah, and it
facts.
Exactly. It's not illegal in Las Vegas. It's not a performance enhancing drug. It is for a medical reason. The guy had hand issues, so I don't nitpick over that.
It's just anybody that want to discredit Floyd is going to nitpick over that.
Yeah. But and that was the original point that I was making, that the guy can't get a fair shake. He cannot get an even assessment of his resume. He rarely ever does. When you bring up Floyd, the first thing that people want to talk about is, oh, he didn't fight Khan. Well, Manny didn't fight Khan. Do you give Manny shit about not fighting Khan? Because Khan been calling him out for the last 4 fucking years. Maybe longer than that.
Does anybody give a shit about Amir Khan? Truth be told, in general. It doesn't matter.
Mark, to your point, I ain't gonna say they give a shit about him, but they only give a shit about him when they talking about how Floyd didn't fight him. As if
that's the nature of Floyd, right? Look, yesterday we heard something, right? Manny Pacquiao is the people's champion. When did Manny Pacquiao become the people's champion over in the States? circa 2009 through 2011 when he became the most likely guy who could beat Mayweather. Lots of these guys become that.
Yeah.
So they hinge onto somebody to beat him. Amir Khan because he's got fast hands. Ricky Hatton because he comes in and he goes. Maidana because he's rough. Pacquiao because he's amazing. Marquez because he got that slick counter-punching style.
Exactly. Cotto because he was tough.
Mosley because he hits like a train and he would have beat him at 135. I mean, that happens a lot with Floyd. Like, I don't hate the man. I don't love the man. I couldn't give less of a shit about him. I don't have his money. I don't have his belts. As far as I'm concerned, he can go fuck himself. But at the end of the day, he's a fucking fantastic fighter.
He's a fantastic.
What's Floyd's best win?
What's that?
I don't think. All right. Floyd has so many great wins. It's hard to just surmise it in one. I think the Canelo win was a great win. I think that was a great win. I think the Pacquiao win was a great win. Earlier in his career, when he beat Gennaro, that was making a statement. Corrales was making a statement. He beat the shit out of Corrales. Corrales was undefeated.
Yeah.
Knocking motherfuckers out.
The Zab Judah fight, maybe? That's a good win.
It's a good win.
It's a good win, but it's not a great win. Zab is a capitulator.
Yeah.
Zab had all the talent in the world, but Zab is a letdown.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not basing that off of Floyd. I'm basing it off of everything else.
That's probably equivalent to a Gotti win to me.
No. Gotti was way shot.
okay.
Gotti was way shot. I'm gonna be honest on that. Gotti was shot to pieces.
Yeah,
And I ain't a Gotti fanboy. I rip him apart
I mean,
all
I'm
the time.
just saying, I don't. Okay, I'm not comparing how they were shot. I'm just talking about the importance of the fight to me. I didn't really put too much into either fight.
There was relevance to the Gatti fight because that was Floyd's pay-per-view debut, and he debuted in a way that you should debut. He beat the shit out of the other guy. He said
He beat the hell out of Gotti.
He beat the shit out of the most popular guy and became a villain overnight. Because Gotti was the most popular guy, pretty much. Not in terms of sales, but popularity. Everyone liked Gotti.
Yeah, that's the truth. Because of the Mickey Ward fights, Gotti was a very well-known guy, and for you to go in there and beat the shit out of him now, obviously real boxing heads is gonna know that Gotti was shot, bro. Like, this dude is shot. But the fact that was his debut, it's relevant to his career that he debuted on pay-per-view beating somebody ass like that, as opposed to debuting on pay-per-view like Spence and going 12 rounds with a fucking lightweight. It's like, bro, you're not making a statement doing that, bro. Like, I understand that Mikey was undefeated. I understand that Mikey was a pound-for-pound fighter, but you went 12 rounds with a lightweight, and you're a very, very, very big welterweight, at least for this era. When Floyd debuted on pay-per-view, it was against a popular guy at that time, and he beat him from pillar to post. It was hard to watch. So that's the relevance of that. It's not a great victory, but it's significant to his career. I think.
Right. Yeah. I agree with that.
I look at Gatti versus Mayweather in the same scope as I look at Pacquiao versus De La Hoya. Why? Because these two guys were obviously past it when they fought those guys. Like Oscar, like, bro, it's a wrap for you. Like I said it last night after Oscar lost to Floyd. I told myself, like, yo, this dude is not gonna win no more big fights. It's a wrap for him. It's a wrap for him. You ain't winning no more big fights.
Yeah.
And he never did after that, did he?
Yeah. A younger Oscar probably would have gave Pacquiao the business, dog. I'm gonna try. That would have been a good fight. He might have given Pacquiao the business.
I agree that the Oscar that fought Felix Trinidad probably would have stood a way better chance because I mean, you talking about an Oscar that had not fought in the welterweight division in years. You came down from junior middleweight. He came up a couple of divisions from lightweight. Manny came up from 135 up to 147. Granted, but when you fought Manny, you met him in the middle more than you met Floyd. You didn't make any concessions or compromises for Floyd. Floyd had to come to you, to your weight, and use your gloves and your ring size and all of that shit. And that's why I feel, okay, not only did he beat him before you, but he beat him under harsher circumstances.
Yeah. And nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about that. They only talk about when Floyd got to his fame and made people do certain things. They talk about that. They don't talk about how Oscar fucking made him jump through fucking hoops.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like to me, and that's a big part of it, that when I see, look, they try to use Floyd as the model for the prima donna behavior that we see here today, when that's inaccurate. Now, Floyd had to pay his dues so that he could become the A side, and he did that. These fighters here today, a lot of these PBC guys, would not make the concessions for Oscar that he made, because you see how these guys is acting. They offered fucking Charlo $7 million to fight Demetrius Andrade. He didn't want to take it. If you talking about pretty boy Floyd, he would have took that. He'd have took that, beat the motherfucker ass, and you know, boosted his profile. So this goes back to the original argument that I was making. Whenever Floyd's career is brought up, all you hear about is the bad, but you don't hear about none of the good. Whereas with Manny, it's in reverse. All you hear about is the good, but you don't hear about none of the bad. Like, bro, you lost 7 fucking times.
This is why I don't give too much of a hard time. That's why I don't think as those losses count as like really, really bad losses, because you could take 2 of those away. You can take the you can take away the Timothy Bradley one, and you could possibly take off the Horn. You could consider those robberies. So we got 5. And against Bunsai Surensat, when he was malnutrition, and Drustico Torrencampo, he got knocked out by body shots, not to the chin.
Gonzalo, but that's the problem that I got. That why do I have to rewrite things for this guy? Why do I have to, like, I take it for what it is. They're like, look, dog, if it was close enough that there was even a chance they could have took it from you, it is what it is, bro. It's the
In other words, he didn't get blown out. He didn't get blown out.
And I'm not gonna imply that he got blown out. I'm just saying that why do I have to rewrite history when it is what it is? This is boxing, and that shit happens, and it happened to you 7 times.
Like, you could say that if that would have been Pacquiao fighting Maidana, and it would have been that close, it could be considered as how he got robbed against Timothy Bradley, but he didn't, maybe.
See, it's all right.
Like, if they would have given Maidana the first, and if they would have given Maidana, we would have. If he would have lost against Maidana and Castillo the first 2 times for those 2 fights, what would we be saying? But he got kind of lucky in a sense. Mayweather did, and that's nothing against him. Ultimately, he is undefeated, like you said. But see, basically, what I'm saying, those 2 fights, and the Morales, and the first point. Morales and the Mayweather, by how many punches did he lose, or how many rounds did he give up? And it might have been a 7-5 on the Morales and maybe a 7-5 in the Mayweather, right?
And I see your point. I see your point that, okay, the Castillo and God, I'm fucking old. Castillo and Maidana are a parallel for some of the close fights that Manny had, with the difference being that Mayweather was still given the decision, right? That's basically what we're saying, that those were fights that could have swung either way. And the only difference is that when it came to Floyd, he was lucky enough to get the nod. He was lucky enough to get the decision. My thing is, yes. No, my thing is,
no. I think he won him. He won him, but he won him. I watched both. I think he won him by like 1 round. He clearly won him, but it was razor close to where, like, if maybe Mayweather, he would have won the Bradley too, but he got robbed. Mayweather could have got robbed, but he clearly won him. That's what I'm saying. He won them for sure. But Pacquiao, I think, won it too, but he got robbed.
The point that I'm making about Floyd and Manny's close fights is that Manny had more of them. You see what I mean? That if I say, okay, let's count Castillo, the first Castillo fight, for argument's sake. Let's call it a loss. All right, let's do that. And then let's look at the Maidana fight. All right, let's say that it was close enough that Maidana should have got it. I don't agree with that, but let's do it for argument's sake. If I do that, okay, this guy had 2 very close fights. 2 very close fights to your, 7? You see what I mean? To your 7. But we're going to pick apart his resume as if there's nothing on there. We're going to accuse him of cherry picking. We're going to accuse him of avoiding fighters, but you never hear none of that said about Manny. And I'm sorry, but if we're being logical, if you're gonna sit here and tell me that, oh well, Floyd avoided Paul Williams, even though Paul Williams is on camera saying, nah, he didn't duck me, the fight just didn't happen. If we're gonna ignore facts, okay, I could sit here saying, why didn't Pacquiao go up to fight Canelo? He's been a junior middleweight before. Why didn't he go up to fight him? And then I could just keep picking out names at junior middleweight that, oh, Manny's active now. Why don't he go up there and fight him now? I mean, to me, it's illogical. But this is what people do to Floyd. Oh, Floyd is ducking Amir Khan because he fought Andre Berto. Okay, Amir Khan's been calling out Manny Pacquiao for years too, and Manny hasn't fought him yet. So we're going to accuse Manny of ducking Khan? I know better. I know that if you put Khan in the ring with Manny, Manny's going to knock him the fuck out. That's what's going to happen. And I would take that bet here today. But that's because I'm being logical. If I want to be illogical, the way I see people are with Floyd, I could be like, oh, Manny ducked Khan. You've been ducking Khan. You've been ducking him. You never fought him. He's been calling you out for 4 or 5 years. You never fought him. You wanted to fight Jeff Horn, though. Why did you pick Jeff Horn instead of Amir Khan?
You know what else? Right.
Go ahead, D.
You know, they thought it was an easy fight, but you know what else? You know what else, Jay, is like I always say with an analogy I use when I talk to these freaking casuals, these basketball casuals about LeBron James and Michael Jordan. When you take two guys and you attempt to compare, right? And you look at their careers, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd kind of falls into that category because LeBron James will probably be playing basketball for 20 years. Okay. Yeah. So he had that amount of time. He had 9 chances to win a title in the finals. But this motherfucker only cashed in 33% of the time. You look at Manny Pacquiao, he has 73 fights. That means he had 23 fights more to accomplish this much more. So even being in the conversation, and once again, like even being in the conversation when Floyd accomplished as much as he did with 23 less fights than you, that's something else that people need to think about.
I agree because that's the quality versus quantity argument. That's the quality versus quantity argument. That's exactly what that is. Look, Manny never unified in the welterweight division. He never unified in the junior middleweight division, whereas I can say wholeheartedly Floyd was unified at 147. He was unified at 154. So if we get into the realm of career accomplishments, you have victories like Canelo that immediately get dismissed, and it's a cockamamie argument. Oh, that Canelo was 20. Bullshit, bro. Okay, bullshit. He was a unified world champion. No losses, 40-something professional fights, 42 or 43.
Right. Yeah. And what is Floyd and Michael Jordan? 100%. Tell me how the fuck that doesn't matter. Floyd's fucking perfect. 100%. Michael Jordan, 6 finals, 6 fucking championships, 6 MVPs, 100%. And you're talking about a guy, LeBron, 33%. You're talking about a guy, Manny, 73, 23 more fights with 7 losses on it. Why are we talking about this?
Exactly. Like to me, all of a sudden, it's like the same people that are sitting here calling Canelo Alvarez young at the time that he fought Floyd are the same people that wanted Gervonta Davis to fight Vasyl Lomachenko 3 years ago. You can't have it both ways. If Vasyl Lomachenko would have beat that man 3 years ago in 2017, how old was Gervonta? 22? Would you have made excuses for Gervonta? No, you wouldn't. You wanted him to, and that's the double standard. If Vasyl Lomachenko would have beat that guy in, it would have qualified as a victory to me the same way that Floyd Mayweather beating Canelo qualifies to me. You are a world champion. You wasn't a prospect when he fought you. You wasn't a prospect. You was a unified world champion.
I got one better for you, my nigga. I got one better for you. If the fight didn't get canceled because Vasyl is stuck in Ukraine, and if he would have came and beat Teofimo Lopez.
Exactly.
Which is how old? 22 fucking years old, a year younger than Canelo was. What the fuck would y'all say? What would y'all have said?
Exactly. The same people that are Vasyl Lomachenko's fans, they would qualify his victory over Lopez if they fought tomorrow and Loma outclassed him. As young as Teofimo is, they're not going to say, oh, Teofimo was too young. Ain't nobody going to say that. So don't tell me that when it comes to Floyd and Canelo, because Canelo had more professional fights than Teofimo had.
Double, my nigga, double. He had 30. Teofimo sit on 15. He had double the fucking professional.
Canelo had 40-something fucking fights, bro. 2 world titles. He was coming off of the Austin Trout fight.
30 knockouts, my nigga. 30
He
knockouts at the time.
he had like 10 that they didn't count on his. I met Canelo many years ago. My friend actually, he tied him. The other tie he got on his record, it was against my friend down in Tijuana.
Okay.
And he had like 10 fights that weren't included. He didn't have a long amateur career yet, but he was definitely seasoned as a professional.
And yeah,
Think Cap says a lot of the fights was in Mexico. Yeah, think Cap. I get that. But still, professional fights gives you professional experience, my nigga. And you got to think about it. If you're going to say a lot of those fights were in Mexico, don't act like half of Teofimo fights weren't pointless. And he only has 15, my nigga. So come on now.
And the shit that I'm gonna say is just like a lot of people will say that, a lot of those fights that Canelo had early was in Mexico. Okay, a lot of the fights that an American prospect has are in America. A lot of the fights that a Russian prospect has are in Russia. A lot of the fights that a guy from the UK has, those fights are in the UK. All these different prospects are doing the same thing. So when I see people say that about Canelo, it's like, okay, this is a silly argument, dog. Every prospect ends up fighting local guys at first. They all fight local guys.
The guys from Argentina, the South American guys, they do that. Everybody, yeah.
Yeah, and everybody does it. But they still
looking at Argentina's record, that's going to be over there.
Experience. They still get that valuable experience because that's what matters in the end. Like, you have to get these rounds in, bro. You got to get these rounds in. And without the fucking headgear, with people fucking hollering, you got to be able to get used to that shit.
Mm-hmm. And I feel that no context is used for the Canelo Alvarez win, in the sense when history remembers that fight, look at what Canelo went on to do, what he went on to become, and realize that the only guy that beat this guy and made it clear that he beat this guy was Floyd Mayweather. It was clear as day.
That's true.
Yeah. And people disrespected the hell out of the judge. They gave Canelo the fucking draw around. Like they cremated that judge. Like clearly Floyd won every round.
Yeah, and to support what you guys are saying, you can make an argument too that Marquez, when he fought Mayweather, he got shut out. All right, and to where this guy, he struggled against Pacquiao.
And this is
Pacquiao struggled against him. Yes,
this is the point that I like to make about Marquez, because I don't treat the Marquez win per se as if it's a big win. The relevance of Marquez is specific to the Pacquiao fight. That okay, you fought Juan Manuel Marquez 4 times. You want life or death with him 4 times. All right, that's a guy that you fought. If we look over at Floyd got off the couch and fought this man and made it look easy. I understand that he had a size advantage. I get it. He had a size advantage. He was about, I think, 4 pounds above the contracted weight, or 3 or 4. So I get that. But we are still talking about a guy who was out of action for 2 years. He was out of action for 2 years.
Right.
So
but all they ever point out is the fucking weight. They don't say nothing about him sitting down for 2 years. They just always talk about the goddamn weight.
And I'm
Mayweather wasn't really ever a huge guy either.
He was.
He's like 5'8", I guess. All these guys that I consider like really, really good champions, maybe Golovkin, Julio Cesar Chavez, Pacquiao, Mayweather, they're always like the guys that are like right around the size of the division, or guys that come up a couple divisions. They're not big guys, weight bullies.
And you know what else about Floyd Gonzalo is that he never let himself get out of shape. So he didn't balloon up to this weight where he would be this bigger, heavier guy. He was always trim and fit.
I agree.
Whether he was laid off or not, he was trim and fit. So he never ballooned up to be this bigger bully in the ring.
And that lended itself to his overall longevity. The fact that he doesn't have to constantly put his body through a fat camp because he's always around his fight weight. He's always around his fight weight. He's never 160 or 180, and he's got to spend the camp in fat camp. Like, Brody, you focusing more on losing weight than you are preparing for a fight, because that's how a lot of these guys' camps are now.
Charles,
a lot of people know.
But
Charles,
at the
Charles, oh, go
end
ahead,
of the
go ahead.
day, let's put it like this. It's gonna be like 10 or 15 years from now. My kids will ask me who was the best fighters of my time. These is two of the motherfuckers I'ma say. But I gotta put Floyd at number one, then over Manny Pacquiao. Some people, I had one dude come to me, oh, you just saying it because he black. No, it ain't because he black. Floyd is 50-0.
Yep.
Manny lost like 7, 8, 9 damn fights.
Yep.
If Floyd lost 7 to 8 damn fights and Manny was 50-0, I will put Manny as number one. Cause these two dudes so disciplined to the sport. Dudes today ain't like that. Everybody want to be about money. Everybody want to be about the jewelry. Everybody want to be a star instead of a great boxer.
Right.
Many people want to be Money Mayweather, but they don't want to be Pretty Boy Floyd, who ran through the gamut.
They want to be Mayweather, but they don't want to put in the work Mayweather did.
Yeah,
that's why you see motherfuckers after a fight. You see people like Tank, Keith Thurman, Earl. You see them after a fight. Shit, them motherfuckers, they done ballooned up about 20, 30 damn pounds.
Hey, Hustle,
like, bro,
that's why I made the fucking analogy with Jordan and LeBron and Floyd. And you know what I mean? Because listen, bro, like again, Jordan, just that dedication, that same dedication. Look at the difference. LeBron knew his defense was poor. He should have worked on it. That motherfucker knew he couldn't fucking shoot free throws. He should have worked on it. You feel me? What Jordan would have been in the fucking gym, dedicated. What Floyd would have been in the gym, hard work.
Exactly.
Same thing is, and I put in another person like that, Jerry Rice. Don't you know that the day after these motherfuckers won the Super Bowl, this motherfucker was right back on the practice field next day.
Exactly.
The next day.
Training.
Yeah. You know what? I see
Floyd dedicated.
Just like Kobe too. It's like, you know, that Mamba mentality.
Exactly.
I see Floyd, when you guys are talking, like he's been retired. His career, his legacy is actually gaining a little traction. He's gaining a little traction. Like, for example, if Canelo keeps on winning, that win looks a lot better. Like if Lomachenko were to beat Teofimo or Devin Haney, Gervonta Davis' young guys, that wouldn't be like end all be all for those guys. Because if Lomachenko were to retire and these guys would go on to win and become like legendary, then that would be like a great win for Lomachenko. Even though maybe at the time those wins wouldn't get that much credit, with time they would age well. And I think that's what's happening to Mayweather.
That's what I do with CD Salido. That's what I do with him. Like a lot of people try to diminish Salido's win over Lomachenko, right? They talk about the low blows. I look at it as an occupational hazard. This is boxing, bro. This is not badminton. This is boxing. Motherfuckers is gonna rough you up sometimes when your acumen is too high. They're gonna rough you up. They're gonna do shit to you. They're gonna do what they gotta do. So I qualify his win over Vasyl. I qualify it. Like Brody, don't tell me he was a bad fighter. He beat Vasyl Lomachenko. When Vasyl moved on from that and fought Gary Russell couldn't do to Loma what CD Salido did. Now, if he would have did that, if he would have roughed him up, if he would have had the foresight, and look at what Gary was saying after that. If he would have had the experience that he has now, if he would have had it then, he's saying he would have came in over the weight. So you can't you can't call Salido a bad fighter. He wasn't a bad fighter at the time that he fought Vasyl Lomachenko. I see people call him a journeyman. I see people call him
no.
Hell no, I wouldn't call him that.
I see people call him a journeyman, and I'm like, no, he wasn't a journeyman. Motherfucking Mickey Roman, before he fought Miguel Bachel, right? This dude was ranked in the top 10 at 130 pounds. He had losses in the double digits, but to call him a journeyman is unfair. He's a top 10 fighter. He's a top 10 fighter. He's not a fucking journeyman. He's a serious threat. Like, I was waiting for the day that Gervonta Davis is, and this is when I still had faith in Gervonta Davis. I have none now. But I was waiting for the day to, like, you know what? Maybe they'll let him fight Mickey Roman or somebody. A strong puncher, good chin, rough and tumble guy, lots of knockouts. That'll be making a statement. He didn't fight a guy like that afterwards. He fought the Walsh guy, and it was all downhill after that. But the point that I'm making is victories age well. And Floyd's victory over Canelo aged so well that he doesn't get no credit for that. Like, bro.
There's even journeymans that can be very troublesome. Remember Glenn Johnson? He was the next world champion, but he had lost like 13 times before he started knocking the fools out here and there. Remember, like Darnell Boone gave hell to some of these guys, even though he lost. Most of the times he would drop them and whatnot. Yeah, Salido had good wins against the Puerto Rican Juanma Lopez and whatnot. He was a 3-time world champion.
But but you see how they talk about him because they don't actually know his record. It's the same shit they did with Chocolatito. It's the same shit they. Shout out to Vladdy. I appreciate that. Let me just post this comment real quick. Reason why Floyd Mayweather Jr. is number one is because in 50 fights with quality competition, no one could solve the puzzle. Salido came in 18 pounds over plus 40 plus low blows without a point deducted IQ. I understand that, Vladdy, but the reason that I don't make excuses for the low blows is if you did something dirty to Floyd, what would Floyd do? Look at what he did to Victor Ortiz. It's the name of the game, bro. It's like
and Salido had like one of the Juan Manuel Marquez chins, and maybe Trinidad and De La Hoya. Once he would get kind of like warmed up, he wouldn't go nowhere. He'd just get up and keep on fighting.
Yeah,
he's come from the same school as Jose Luis Castillo and Julio Cesar Chavez. They're from the same area, Obregón, Sonora. They're tough over there because of the climate and the body punching.
And what I'm gonna say is you're gonna run into those kind of guys. You're gonna run into those kind of guys that you know what? Maybe they're not as good. Maybe they don't have the acumen for boxing that you do, but they'll resort to something, and that's all a part of the fight. That's all a part of the experience. So you saw what Victor tried to do to Floyd. He tried to headbutt him on some slick shit. And what did Floyd do? Did Floyd just let it happen? No. All right, you want to be dirty? Be dirty.
Yeah, I seen a comment up above. I don't know. I can't remember who it was, but they said it was going back to the Floyd and Manny situation. And they said that Manny accomplished more and gave us more exciting fights. And my response, I just wanted to respond to that. Whoever said it, they know who wrote it. You can't say that Manny accomplished more because they accomplished different things, but both are impressive in their own right. And that's why they both in a discussion. So I wouldn't say necessarily more because Manny didn't go 50-0, but Floyd didn't win in 8 divisions. So they accomplished different things. So you can't say, hold on for a second, guys. Now, when it comes to exciting fights, it touches back on what Julie's point was earlier. A fight that's tumultuous very often is exciting. That's what these fights of the year are about. But it's still a hard fight. If Floyd made it look easy and Floyd fucked around with guys, of course it wasn't exciting. Sometimes fights like that, that's that one-sided, are boring. So yeah, he may have given us exciting fights, but what did they, what were they made up of? Did Manny struggle in those fights and then come out with a win? He was exciting, he won, but he still struggled in that fight. You got to account for that.
I feel that's another myth that Floyd didn't give us exciting fights when, you know what, if people wasn't waiting to see you fight, if you weren't creating excitement, you would have never went on to become the pay-per-view draw that you was. That's an oxymoron to me. Motherfuckers is paying cash money on a regular, more than they've ever paid for any other fighter to see you fight. So you can't tell me that's not exciting when motherfuckers is literally paying cash money on a regular basis.
I mean, that's true, but they was paying to see you lose.
But that's still
exciting. They was waiting for you to lose. Yeah, Don't
he was playing the villain card.
No, I don't. I don't.
But I think honestly, I think we're putting a little too much into the whole undefeated thing. To be honest with you, yeah, Floyd was undefeated, but for me, that doesn't matter. If you're fighting the best and you take a loss to the best, then I don't have an issue with it. I got Floyd over Manny because he beat Manny, but they basically fought the same opposition minus, Corrales or, a couple of people. They basically fought the same people. Some Manny fought certain people before Floyd did, and Floyd fought certain fighters before Manny did. It's pretty much the same level of opposition. Yeah, Manny has losses, but just because he has losses doesn't mean he's a lesser of a fighter than Floyd. I don't view it as that.
Here's where we're gonna disagree, right? All right, now just like you just said, They fought comparable opposition. They fought more or less at the same level. The difference is that when Floyd, and this is the only reason why him being undefeated is a testament to greatness, because you fought the same kind of fucking guys that he did, but you don't got 7 losses on your resume. He do. Does that mean that Manny's a bad fighter because he lost 7 fights? No, of course not. That's ridiculous. Henry Armstrong lost 4 of his first 5 fights. Look at what he went on to become. So it's not, oh, he lost, so he ain't shit. It's that we comparing y'all two. It's about y'all too. So if he fought the same motherfuckers that you fought, but he don't got 7 L's, most of the time it's so fucking one-sided that some people think it's boring. All right, I gotta say, yeah, he's a greater fighter than you are. Not just individually, like based on an individual contest, but overall. He put a gap between himself and everybody else. That includes you, because he fought you, and you couldn't do to him what you did to all these other people.
And that's why I got Floyd above him, because he beat him. You know, because, I mean, Manny beat Marquez how many times, you know? So saying that, you know, because he won once, now it's a big dent in his career, and a lot of his losses came from the lighter weights and early in his career. So I'm not about to, you know what I mean? The guys that they fought, Manny beat them too, besides Marquez. So I don't really look at it as that big of a deal.
A lot of his losses may have come. A lot of his losses may have come early or whenever they came. Nevertheless, they losses, bro. And
no, and I
can
agree
see
to that.
like,
and then Floyd put the gap in between them when he beat them, in my opinion. But what makes Manny right now, he's still fighting. So I think we should actually talk about that too. Manny still has the opportunity to surpass Floyd today. If Manny goes and he beats Spence, Manny goes and he beats Crawford, becomes undisputed or anything like that, that conversation's over for me. Manny's better.
You know what?
His legacy's better.
Do you know why I disagree? Look, Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, right? Perfect example. All right. We know that George had 2 phases of his career. He had 2 phases. When he was younger, when he was older. Whatever he went on to do afterwards, when he came back, I think it was in 88 or 86. I forget which was the exact year that he decided to come back.
87.
87. If you go on to win a world title afterwards, which he did, that doesn't take away from Ali's legacy. It adds to it, because look at the kind of fucking fighter that he beat in you. He beat you decades ago. You come back a decade later, you're still winning world titles. All that tells me is that, yo, this Ali guy, I mean, yeah, George is great. I'm like, George Foreman's one of my favorite heavyweights of all time. But at the end of the day, if you lost to this man already, whatever you do after that don't change that he beat you. It only adds to his legacy.
That's what Leonard Ellerby. Sorry, that's what Leonard Ellerby said. I saw a comment that he tweeted that y'all said that when he fought Mayweather, he was past his prime, but then all of a sudden he got it back when he fought Thurman. I just thought that was interesting.
Exactly.
But look, I mean, that's fine.
Check this out, though.
Let me just respond to that. That's fine, right? That's a good answer. But at the end of the day, if we're just comparing legacy, yeah, Floyd took a loss to him, but Manny would have taken a loss to Floyd. But if Manny goes on and becomes undisputed today, then I would say he has a better legacy. I mean, Holyfield took a loss to Lennox. Holyfield's legacy in totality is still better than Lennox Lewis.
I don't know, but I really don't know. But I like, if we're gonna use Holy and Lennox as a parallel, I don't know that I could be on board for that. I do feel that Lennox overall, because he was undisputed. You know, Holyfield was undisputed. He was undisputed, but Lennox beat every man that beat him. You know, he beat Rockman, he beat McCall, he beat the who's who of heavyweights at that time. Holyfield, his heavyweight run wasn't like Lennox. It wasn't. I mean, you beat Mike, you beat Mike, cool, whatever, but it's not comparable, man.
Me personally, I have Pacquiao, but I could be biased. Like, I even moved over here to the Philippines, and I came here and visited him. I not live too far away from where he lives, really close. I live in his hometown, but that's why I might be biased, because I'm a real big Manny Pacquiao fan. But I just listened to what everybody had to say, and those are valid points. I'll even support some of the points that you guys make.
Yeah, Julius, I guess what you was trying to say is that, even though Pacquiao is trying to differentiate his legacy from Floyd by beating, the who's of the welterweight division right now. That just only makes that win over Pacquiao even better. It
It
ages
does.
better. I understand your argument.
It does because look,
bro. And
go ahead, D.
yeah, I just want to say this right quick. You know how people always say, well, Floyd waited Manny Pacquiao out. He waited out too long, right? Look at what the fuck, just like we're saying now. Manny, like Umbaya said, Manny's still fighting. He just beat Keith Thurman. He has a possibility to beat somebody else. So if Floyd waited him out until Manny was old, how the fuck was he old and he's still beating young fighters?
And it never.
Those are
How
excuses.
the fuck does that work?
It
Yeah.
never
Those
made,
are
it
just
never made a
excuses
lot
for
of
Manny.
sense. It never made a lot of
Yeah.
sense. They said, look, at the end of the day, I've heard this, and it's an irritating argument. It's an irritating talking point. When you tell me that an older fighter is waiting out a younger fighter, I don't care what their base styles are. Oh, Floyd's style lends itself to. Well, that's Manny's fucking problem, bro. That's Manny's fault. If you out here getting lumped up in the middle of a fight, whose job is it to stop that from happening? It's your job. It ain't Floyd's job. It's your job. So I don't really want to hear about, oh, Floyd had a defensive style that ages better. Manny has the same opportunity to fix those holes that Floyd has. The difference is Floyd fixed them, Manny didn't. It is what it is. But don't tell me that he's waiting out a younger fighter. That doesn't make sense, dog. You're never gonna be younger than Manny. I mean, you're never gonna be the younger guy with Manny. You're 2 years older than him. That literally makes no sense.
Yeah, and I don't think that Mayweather's style would actually age a whole lot better because the legs are the first things to go, right? And he was never a power puncher who had hand problems, and power's the last to go. He wasn't really that. Although he had a good counter shot when he was going backwards, you would come to him, then he would go forward and catch you coming in.
Yeah, he had a pull counter, good pull counter. Very good pull.
It was a combination
Well, you know what I think we're doing? I think we're comparing like legacy versus if the guy can actually win in a fight. That's what I think we're doing. Obviously, Floyd beat Manny, so that conversation of who can beat who is over. But we're talking about legacy, like when it comes to wins and your opponents, etc. Like Floyd's not fighting anymore. Well, boxers at least. Manny's still doing that. That's why I'm saying Manny still has the opportunity to, at the end of the day, have a better legacy. Now, can he beat Floyd? That conversation or question, we saw the outcome of that.
But that's the point that, okay, if we're going to use things that Manny Pacquiao did after Floyd beat him as a means to revise history, because that's what it seems like. When Manny fought Floyd, this was intended to decide and end all the arguments. You two guys were the consensus number 1 and number 2 pound for pound fighters. You're both the most accomplished guys at this time that are running around. This is supposed to settle it, only so that after the fight, we got to keep hearing, oh, he fought Thurman, so he fought the guy that Mayweather ducked. And it's just like, bro, like, so basically the effort coming from the Pacquiao side of things, I'm not going to accuse y'all of this, but I've seen other people do it. Basically, the effort in saying all this stuff is you're trying to rewrite history as if Floyd didn't beat this man. He beat this man already, dog. And then, one fight after that, he retired. And there's not a single thing that anyone can do, including Manny, that's going to change that. That was a legacy-defining fight. That fight has as much to do with Floyd's legacy as anything else. And he won the fight. He won the fight decisively. I'm not going to say Manny's not accomplished or he's not an all-time great. Of course he is. But the idea that, okay, well, Floyd beat me, but I'm going to beat Keith Thurman, and that's going to give me a better legacy than Floyd, that doesn't make sense.
Indeed.
No, I mean, becoming undisputed. Becoming undisputed, I think at that point, Manny has a claim. You know what I'm saying? He's still out here fighting all the young guys. He cleans house. Yeah, I could see, my opinion, I probably would say, yeah, well, shit. I mean,
let me ask you this,
but
let me ask you this.
Look at his whole career at the end of the day.
Yeah, and let me ask you this. If you say that and he goes on to become undisputed, which that's fucking far-fetched because I think Crawford or Spence beats the hell out of him right now. But let's say he did go on to become undisputed or whatever. Floyd still beat that guy.
Yeah.
When he was way younger before he became undisputed. And so that is also on Floyd's resume because this is after these two met up. So Floyd beat this guy that did that. So that's a counter argument for his accomplishments because he did all of this, but he couldn't beat Floyd.
That's the point I'm making. That's exactly the point I'm making. That look, if Manny becomes undisputed, and I'm with D on this one, that I don't see him beating Terrence Crawford. I think Terrence Crawford retires. Honestly, I really do. But let's say, hypothetically speaking, he were to become undisputed. That still doesn't count towards Floyd's legacy. It builds it up even more. That damn dog. So you beat Manny 4 or 5 years before he even became undisputed.
Exactly.
And it was Manny's fans that was saying that, oh, you know, Manny's past his prime. He's over the hill when Floyd fought him. They were saying a lot of different things. How could that be the case if Manny Pacquiao is still out here fighting undefeated champions and winning? That it doesn't add up. It's that the logic is not cohesive. If this guy's still running around 4 years after Floyd beat him, collecting belts, now don't give me the shoulder, the prime, all this stuff. Like the shoulder injury was stupid to me. Like, dog, how many fighters have we seen win fights with existing injuries? How many?
How much flame did Deontay Wilder just get for complaining about his shoulder? Give Manny Pacquiao the same flame. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Word.
For me, that fight is really hard to score. Not because I don't think that Mayweather necessarily won. It was just such a not good fight. I'm not gonna. It was a bad fight, really.
Wait, you don't think Mayweather won versus Manny?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, but it was just a hard fight to score for me because you had a guy going forward, being aggressive, and you had Floyd scoring the more clear shots, but by outlanding him maybe by 1 or 2 shots per round in a few rounds, not all the rounds. Some of the rounds were hard to score because one guy's being so negative while the other guy's coming forward, and there's nothing clearly being established by both guys. But the few rounds that Mayweather did win, he won them by 1 or 2 rounds. In the end, yeah, he gets the victory, but would that victory like equate to a shutout or masterclass performance? That it was on one given night, and maybe if they fought 10 times, you could get different results. But on that night, yeah, we're gonna say Mayweather, he won clearly. Okay, we're gonna say that. But is that just such a negative on Pacquiao?
Let me address this comment from Fabrizio. Fabrizio says that's not an argument, IQ. Floyd beating Manny doesn't mean his legacy is better. You can make the argument Hagler beat Sugar Ray Leonard, who has the better legacy. Well, first off, if we're gonna stick to the facts, we can feel that Hagler won the fight. We could feel that way, but that's not actually a fact. Just like Mark said last night, I cannot go to any boxing record or any boxing archive and see Hagler has a win over Leonard. He doesn't have a win over Leonard. Leonard beat him. Leonard beat him, and that's how you have to look at that. You don't have to like it the way I don't have to like Canelo getting a draw with Triple G. I don't agree with that. But the truth is that's what it was. You got a draw, right? That's what they caught that shit. So you can't make an argument based on an opinion. You're making an argument based on your opinion of Hagler versus Leonard. That's not a parallel for none of this because Hagler didn't beat Leonard. He didn't beat him.
Right. Anytime DSFG gets up here and say, Danny Garcia, 38-0, everybody laugh at him, tell him he's stupid because on the books, Danny Garcia is not 38-0. In his opinion, Danny Garcia got robbed in both of those fights. Now, granted, both of those fights were close, but he lost.
Can you guys clearly recall what Mayweather did so special?
Point, though, his point is just because you lost to somebody doesn't mean that person's legacy is better than yours, but Floyd had a good legacy before beating Manny.
That's what I wanted to address. Think Cap says, does Ruiz automatically have a better legacy? He's talking about Ruiz beating Anthony Joshua. No, he doesn't have a better legacy simply for beating him. And I already said this in the video I uploaded yesterday, that it's not just that Floyd beat Manny. It's that they were the consensus #1 and #2 pound-for-pound fighters of their time. Floyd was already very accomplished before he even fought Manny. He was crowned the pound-for-pound king before he even fought Manny.
How do you guys see?
Go ahead, Gonzalo.
Can you recall what Mayweather did so special during that fight that you can remember that was of greater significance aside from the win? Or did Mayweather do something that everybody said that Pacquiao was going to do, including Pacquiao, but he didn't do in the end?
All right. What I remember, and what I was looking for in the fight, because what I imagined the fight was going to look like is what it ended up looking like. That this is going to be a slow fight. This is not going to be an action fight. Floyd's going to slow the fight down, and he's going to win the fight behind boxing and clean punching. He's not going to engage Manny in the pocket because Manny's fought too fast, hits too fucking hard. A lot of the activity from Pacquiao, a lot of the flurries that he threw, they were landing on Mayweather's arms and gloves. Those are not scoring blows. Now, under different circumstances, the reason that people get thrown off by this is because under different circumstances, we actually see A-side fighters win fights by doing this. Whereas these two guys are on an even playing field. There's not going to be any favoritism because you're a marquee fighter and so is he. So we're not going to give you bonus points just because you threw punches. This time they have to land. And you're landing on his arms and his elbows. When you pinned him down on the ropes and you were letting off a combination, all of it landed on his arms and his gloves. All of it. Those are not scoring blows, bro. On top of that,
Hey, Ring.
Go ahead.
Bobby Dreamland has a question. He says, Joe Calzaghe's resume or legacy better than Bernard Hopkins?
I think that there's an argument there. I'm not going to say it was better, but I think there's an argument there. Joe had a very good resume. I'm not going to say his resume was better than Bernard's, but because Joe's already accomplished, Bernard just comprises one victory on Joe's resume, just one. Some people refer to Joe as the best super middleweight. I don't agree with them. For me, it's Ward. But some people say that. But you can't use those guys as parallels for Floyd and Manny because Floyd and Manny were the pound for pound consensus, pound for pound, number one and number two. That is not an adequate parallel for this. Was Joe a champion in multiple weight classes? Was he Lineal Ring Magazine champion multiple times like either of these two fighters? Did he beat the same number of world champions as Floyd? Did he beat the same number of world champions as Manny and Hall of Famers? No, so we can't use that as a parallel. It doesn't fit.
Not to mention all of the opponents that they had in common, which led up to this. So now that both of these guys have beat these guys and they beat them in such fashion or whatever you have, who beat who better and whatever. Now it leads up to this. They all had these guys in common. Like, bro, it's just so much with this fight that like Jay said, that was a determining factor. And then, I hear a lot of analogies, but those two guys are not in talks like of being compared. This is like we're comparing Floyd and Manny, their legacies, what they've done in their careers. So it has to count that he beat Manny.
Right, that's going to be the thing. Manny's going to have to always fight against his career in being compared to Floyd is the fact that Floyd beat him. Same with Canelo. Like both. That's the thing. Like I'm saying what I personally would look at Manny's legacy and be like, wow, okay, you became undisputed. When everybody on this panel thinks it's impossible. So if he did that, which is the impossible, then I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, well, I got to give you some credit for that. I'm not going to give Floyd credit for that because he didn't beat those guys. Manny's the one in the ring doing the work, so I'm going to give it to Manny.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair because it's true. You can't give Floyd credit. You can't give if Manny goes in there and beats Thurman, right? You can't give Floyd credit for that because you didn't beat Thurman. He beat Thurman. I get that.
Hold on, Jay. Hold on, Jay. Hold on. I can't necessarily all the way agree with that, and I'll break this down for you. Now, when we sit there and we listen to a lot of analysts, a lot of boxing analysts, or if you go listen to a boxing librarian or beats and rhymes, right? And we talk about the boxers in the past and why they were great and how were they great. They start listing, first and foremost, the Hall of Fame fighters that they have beaten. The world champions, ex-champions, and Hall of Famers that they have beat. Now, all of these Hall of Famers, they may be in the Hall of Fame, but we don't say, oh, they one of the all-time greats, right? Floyd, at the path that Canelo is going and Manny is going, he will have 2 all-time greats under his record. Not only Hall of Famer, but 2 all-time greats under his fucking resume, bro. Exactly. And so if we sit there and listen to, oh, he's beaten 23 Hall of Famers and this, that, and the third, and it matters then it have to fucking matter that Floyd will possibly have 2 all-time fucking greats on his resume. And don't tell me it doesn't.
No, you're right. Based on the standard, because that's the standard. That's
the fucking standard, bro.
And that's always, and the other thing is, that's always been the standard. That, okay, did Canelo go on to become a better fighter than he was when Floyd fought him? Yes, he did, but that doesn't change that he was a unified junior middleweight champion, undefeated, 40-plus professional contests. That's not going to change over time. If anything, whatever Canelo does thereafter only enhances Floyd's legacy for Floyd having beaten him already before he did these things.
And that's why I don't really buy that argument that he was green. And it's like, look, he was already 8 years into his professional career. He started in 2005. He fought Floyd in 2013.
Exactly.
And one of the things that I'm sorry. One of the things that they would tell him is like, oh, he had lead feet. But you know what? Canelo was a great boxer. You know, he just had great like upper body movement. Like he knew how to make people miss. You know. It's that when he fought Floyd, I mean, this was the first big stage fight, you know?
Floyd is Floyd, right? So I think Floyd is the better fighter, like between the two, between him and Manny. But my point is, like, when it comes to legacy, I look at that, I view that as something different. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they fought, so Floyd is the better fighter. But when it comes to terms of legacy, Manny's still fighting today, and in my opinion, if he were to, do something like become undisputed, then he probably has an argument. I'm just telling you what, in my opinion, would possibly make Manny be above Floyd. That's a better question, I think.
But that point I just gave you, I'm biased. That point I just gave you has to do with legacy. Having 2 all-time greats on your resume has to do with legacy, my nigga.
Like, no, I hear you, and that's great.
So
that's great. But
my point is this, I'm biased. My point is
isn't in the ring Floyd isn't in the ring.
I get that, bro.
So I'm not going to give Floyd the credit for it.
I get that, unbiased. But okay, I get that, unbiased. I get that point. But hear me out, bro. The more that Canelo and Manny Pacquiao achieves at this point, I get what you're saying. They're the ones in the ring beating the guy up. But the way the standards are by analysts and everyone else, when we determine who was the greatest of all time, the more they achieve, the better it is for Floyd concerning legacy, my nigga.
It is.
That's how it's going to be accounted for.
Can I say this? I want to say this. Look, that's a part of what made me have this conversation. That once Floyd Mayweather Jr. is brought up, all the existing standards fly right out the fucking window. They literally do, because the only thing I see mentioned when it comes to Floyd is the hair splitting or the bad. And I'm like, dog, this guy beat Canelo Alvarez. Since this guy beat Canelo Alvarez, not a single person that he's fought, from Miguel Cotto to Gennady Golovkin to Sergey Kovalev to Daniel Jacobs, none of these guys were able to do to Canelo what Floyd did to Canelo, and he made it look easy. Now, I understand that Canelo went on to be a better fighter. I think he has improved. He's more confident. He's stronger. He's rounded out as a fighter. But overall, so far, the only guy who really embarrassed Canelo is Floyd Mayweather. That has to
So Canelo was 23 at that time. Sorry, am I echoing? Oh shit!
Hey, Julius, can you do me a favor? Hey, I don't know what the fuck going on with my internet. Just put me in the back room, man, because my shit going in and out and shit. I don't know. I just listen in to y'all. Just put me in the back room.
All right.
Hey, let me ask y'all this. James Buster Douglas, right? So he has the miracle win against Tyson, and then it was pretty much poof after that, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's say, for instance, James Buster Douglas went on to beat Holyfield after Tyson. Now he got 2 fucking ATGs on what would James Buster Douglas be looked at as then versus what he's looked
definitely.
at as now?
Yeah. Hey, I was gonna say, who did he fight first, Austin Trout or Mayweather? Canelo.
Trout. He unified with Trout. Trout was the WBA champion. Canelo was WBC. They had their fight. They had their fight, their unification match, and then after that, he fought Floyd.
And that was a Trout that beat a good version of Cotto, right?
Exactly.
So that was a prime Trout. That was like a good version, a left-hander, and yeah.
Well, that's the point that I'm making. That look, the guy that we had on last night, right? He was trying to argue that Trout wasn't like a nobody or something. I'm like, bro, Trout was a champion. He had just like it doesn't make sense, bro. Like what you're saying, that doesn't make sense. You can't, and I think a big part of the reason that people like to diminish Canelo as a win for Floyd is because in the back of their minds they know that that's a really good fucking win, dog. Especially given what this guy's running around doing today. It's a great win.
He had already beat Trout, so he was green, but he was not that green because he was unified, right?
It's just at what point my thing is people use that terminology that the fighter was green very selectively. They're very picky when they want to decide when a guy is green. When as far as I know in the sport of professional boxing, if you're a world fucking champion, the training wheels come off. Canelo approached the Trout fight as a champion. He didn't become a champion fighting Trout. He was already a champion ahead of the fucking fight. He fights Trout. That further legitimizes him as a champion because Canelo won a vacant title. The WBC was vacant. I'm trying to remember who he fought for it, but it was vacant. All right, you have the fight with Trout. This fight legitimizes you as a champion. Now you're not just an opportunistic guy that got an opportunity. You are a bona fide champion, 22 or not. You're a bona fide champion, and that's what Floyd fought. Coincidentally, that's the same guy that's running around here tearing shit up today. If I see people bigging up Manny Pacquiao for fighting Antonio Margarito, who didn't go on to do shit, how you gonna knock me for bigging up Floyd beating Canelo? Canelo's gonna go down as one of the all-time great Mexican fighters of all time. Is Margarito?
But that's the thing, right? These guys would give Lomachenko credit if he goes and beats Teofimo Lopez, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So
yes,
that's the thing. Like you gotta keep it consistent. Like I'm a Teofimo fan, and I think it's potentially he can beat Lomachenko. So if I'm gonna say that, right, say he could beat him, then I got to give Lomachenko the credit because he's doing something I don't think that I'm picking him to win. That's the same thing. A lot of those guys picked Canelo to beat Floyd. When it didn't happen and he got schooled for 12, they switched their opinion. Yes. You can't. The dude was unified. He was a unified champion. Like you got to give Floyd the credit for beating Canelo. You just do.
Yeah, and I agree. Like if Lomachenko, and I go back to Lomachenko, I hate the age excuse because if Lomachenko would have fought, if Davis would have decided to fight Vasyl Lomachenko back in 2017, and Loma would have beat him, these same guys would give Loma credit for fighting him. And what was Davis, 22? I mean, he wasn't young. To me, he wasn't too young to have the fight. To me, like, bro, you got a belt. You in the big leagues now. You got a belt. When you get a belt, the training wheels come off and you have a target on your back. It's the same for everybody, 22 or 32. It's the same for everybody. So if Loma would have beat Davis at 22 years old, I would have gave him credit. If he beats Teofimo at 22 or 23 years old, I'm going to give him credit. The same credit that I give Floyd for beating Canelo is the same credit I would give Loma for beating Teofimo or Gervonta Davis. And it's never been different. It only gets different when we bring up Floyd. And that is the annoying part. Like, bruh, these are the standards. These have always been the standards. It never changed. It only changes for certain individuals whenever Floyd Mayweather Jr. is the subject. If we're going to sit here crying that Floyd didn't fight Khan, Manny didn't fight Khan. If we're going to sit here crying that, oh, Floyd didn't fight Paul Williams, Manny didn't fight Paul Williams. Like what's the problem?
I just wanted to bring up when Manny was a welterweight in his first 3 years. I kind of, by the time he fought like Mosley, right, I kind of understood his gimmick where he was trying to fight Floyd's previous opponent, but he had to beat him convincingly in order to present value, to him, to match himself up with Floyd. But what a lot of casuals don't understand is what went into those fights to be made. There are concessions to weight clauses.
Yeah.
You know, Manny, you know, say what you will, you know, yeah, he's a 8 division champion, but like he didn't exactly had like made the full weight, you know.
No, he
I
didn't.
thought, you know, when he fought Margarito, I'm like, he kind of like just like faded out. Like that was his physical limitations, as you would see. And that was
No,
a
I mean,
fighter that
It's true. He didn't fight Margarito. I mean, and I don't hold it against him because at the end of the day, it was within the junior middleweight limit. Like, it's not necessary for you to fight at the limit. But a big issue that I have is I always have to hear about Floyd and catchweights as if Manny didn't catchweight anybody. It's childish to me. It's
it's
childish.
a two-way street. It's just like the double standards. I mean, I mean, I used to be like that, but as I look more closely, I'm like, that's actually the whole sport. A lot of dudes, a lot of A-side fighters, they make concessions. You know, I mean, Floyd had to concede to Oscar's demands, you know, in order to make
Exactly.
that fight. You know,
Exactly.
yeah.
And I see that, and I'm like, a lot of people bring up the De La Hoya fight when it comes to Pacquiao, and they bring up how the odds makers had it, you know, as if that's any kind of an argument. Like the odds makers could have had Oscar as a favorite, whatever. The fact of the matter is, Floyd did fight Oscar at a weight that was more comfortable for Oscar. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. Oscar was at 154 at the time. Floyd went up to 154. Oscar didn't compromise with Floyd the way that he compromised with Manny. With Manny, he came down a little because Manny was a little bit further down. He was fighting down there at lightweight. So, but there was a compromise.
Yeah, but Oscar was the A side versus Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah. If
So he was the one who decided the weight. So if you got to blame anybody, you got to blame Oscar De La Hoya because he's the one that came down.
If Manny would have been like an Oscar De La Hoya when he first got started, and you know they wanted to like maximize his career through the years, he could have even been a 10 world division champion with good matchmaking. But he only fought 8 because he fought in 10 divisions. He fought in 8 divisions where he could have fought in 10 from the weight that he begun to the weight that he ended. But he skipped 2. So if they would have tried to like what do you call it today with the matchmaking? I forget the word I'm trying to say, but you guys know what I mean.
Hold on, let me post this link right quick. My point is simple. The things that people complain about when it comes to Floyd, you could easily turn that around on Manny, and all of this conveniently gets ignored because Manny is a more likable guy for some people. For me, it's boxing. It's boxing. It's playing the heel to sell a fight. I don't read too much into it because that's what the fuck he's doing. He's playing the heel to sell me a fight, and it's working. A lot of people bought those fucking fights. But because Manny's more likable, we treat him like the Mother Teresa of the shit. When, bro, you fought a couple of guys at catchweights. Same as Floyd. You fought a couple of motherfuckers at catchweights. So I'm going to sit here complaining about catchweights like Manny never fought nobody at a catchweight. Or how am I going to sit here complaining about guys that Floyd didn't fight when you know what? Manny didn't fight some of them guys neither. It's like I said, to me, it's childish. It is childish.
Yeah. Well, at the time, maybe Manny was smaller. Like, he was a 135 pounder. Well, Mayweather was too also, right? He was a 135 pounder. But it was like years up. Different years, different eras.
Different eras. But it's more along the lines of if these are things that you complain about, that you're going to go as far as complaining about catchweights. If that bothers you, then why doesn't it bother you that Manny fought guys at catchweights? He fought guys at catchweights.
That's one thing that Canelo has mentioned, and a lot of people do not understand. We were like really digging into the Kovalev fight to try to find out, and I even stated on BDA that Canelo, well, somebody, one of the Mexican channels that stated that there was no catchweight clause. Ultimately, I think it did come out, but it was like a agreement that he could have mentioned that. But it was a rehydration clause for Canelo. But they give Canelo so much shit about it that these fighters in the past, to include Manny, are also guilty of it, going to the Mayweather thing. It's not just
the same thing with
Mayweather.
Canelo and Jacobs. It's the same thing with Canelo and Jacobs. In the Jacobs fight, there were people complaining that there was a rehydration clause in the contract, right? And I'm like, why are y'all complaining when that same weight cap of you can't be 10 pounds above the limit, Daniel Jacobs fought Sergey Didivianchenko with that same weight cap. If you can make the weight for Sergey, then make it for Canelo. Point blank, period. I don't care whose clause it is, whether it's the IBF's or Canelo's putting it in the contract. You just fought under these circumstances. So I'm not going to sit here crying and complaining when you literally just did this shit.
And if we even go back, De La Hoya used to do it as well. He used to fight guys that were one division under when he was first coming up. Yeah. Ray
Leonard did it too. A bunch of people did it, man. People act like this is new. Lomachenko versus Rigondeaux had a catchweight in it. No, I didn't see one person complain. Period.
Yeah, to me, it's a lot like. And bear in mind, I'm not a Canelo fan. I agree that he approaches a fight with a lot of advantages. I'm not saying that he doesn't. All I'm saying is, for the Jacobs fight, why are you complaining that they won't let Jacobs rehydrate over 10 pounds when he literally just fought under these circumstances? He won the title under those circumstances. It's not a fucking handicap when you just did that. This is the Canelo Alvarez fight. This is a bigger fight than that fight was. So putting a 10-pound cap on it, that's not asking a lot, bro, because that's an opportunity for you. It's not an opportunity for him. He could fight 10 fucking guys like you. He could spit in the wind and hit a guy like you. It's an opportunity for you. Yes, the clause was put in there by Canelo, but so what? Jacobs literally just fought with a clause just like this from the IBF. It's not going to hinder his ability to fight. He just fought under these circumstances.
Yep. And it wasn't like Jacobs was diminished. He was famished, because of the weight cut. It just, that's just how it is. I mean, being an IBF title holder means you have to adhere to those that 10-pound limit. And to me, Jacobs was a lower tier, like below Canelo, in my opinion. Every big fight that he was in, from Golovkin, to this one, it's like, okay, yeah, he earned those fights, but he still wasn't good enough. I felt like when I saw that fight with him and Canelo, he couldn't do the things that he normally would have done. Canelo was just that good. That's just the way. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
So can I ask you the panel something? So, in your guys' opinion, man, so there is absolutely nothing Manny Pacquiao could do to basically have a better legacy than Floyd because Floyd beat him. Well, so anything Manny does is just all the credit is gonna go right back to Floyd.
Well, remember, unbiased. This is my view. I'm going to tell you my view, and you could feel free to disagree, right? Boxing is to determine who the better fighter is, as far as the appeal for the fans. That's what the contests are for. That's the build-up. That's what it all is, the hoopla, the hubbub. So when we get these two guys in the ring, and you beat that guy, and you were already accomplished before you beat that guy. You was pound for pound king, number one. He was number two, right? If he goes on to do something after you guys fought and he beat you, it's not going to change that he already answered the question. He already answered the question. Y'all had the fight. So it's kind of hard to say. I'm ambivalent because I see your point that, like, damn, dog, if this motherfucker becomes undisputed, that's fucking crazy. I see your point. It's just that it's hard to wrap my mind around that when, okay, if you go on to become undisputed, that's not going to change that he beat you, that he answered the question. He answered the question. Which one of you is greater? He answered that already. What you doing now?
He's the best of his generation.
Yeah, because wasn't that the question? The two best fighters of their era, of their time. That's what the fight was billed as. That's what it's supposed to be. And he answered that question already. We can't rewrite the answer based on what you decide to do after school.
So he answered the question, who's the better fighter between the two, right? I agree. I agree with that. But I guess where the misconnection is here is like, just because you beat him in my opinion, doesn't mean that you can have a better legacy. Right now, I'll say Floyd does. But I'm saying since Manny is still currently fighting, he still has a potential chance to have a better legacy. We know who's the better fighter in between the two. That's Floyd. But I'm talking about like legacy, and after Manny retires, we look at their whole career played out. That's my thing. I'm not saying who would win versus each other. We know that already. I'm just talking about the legacy after he retires. Which
I
one
think
will
I
look better?
think that because people tend to think of boxing in a lot of different spectrums, right? But the fighting is the legacy. You understand? Like the fight, all the fights. That's his legacy. Now, of course, one single victory, one lone victory over a fighter doesn't put you on par with that fighter's legacy. That would be like saying that because Jeff Horn won a controversial decision over Manny Pacquiao, oh, now he has a better legacy than Pacquiao. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying their fight was built up for a long time, and their fight was basically who is the best of this era. So it's not just as simple as, oh, it's just a fight. It's just a singular fight. No, this was an event. This was built towards. Everything you two guys have been doing up until this point has led to this moment. And this moment is not an ordinary moment. This moment is to answer a question. Which one of you two is the greater one? Because you're the consensus number one and number two of your time. The question got answered already. I cannot treat this like, how can I put it? I can't treat this like this was a Pacquiao-Thurman fight. No, this wasn't just a guy that you fought somewhere down the line. This is different from that, dog. You're accomplished. He's accomplished. You're a pound-for-pound fighter. He's a pound-for-pound fighter. You've been a champion in several weight classes. He's been a champion in several weight classes. You guys have fought about 4 or 5 common opponents with each other. This is different from all those other situations. So when the fight goes down and an outcome is decided, that outcome should not be diminished or put aside for anything you do thereafter. It shouldn't, because we answered, as far as you and him, we already found out the answer to that question.
Yeah, and that was Floyd beat him in a fight. You know what I'm saying? So that, like, I don't know, man. I think for me, it's like two different things. Like Floyd beat him. We know Floyd's the better fighter, but like legacy and you winning a fight, I think are just like, for me, it's two different things. But I don't know. But I agree to the point that Floyd beat him. So what Manny does, it does look better for Floyd. It's aging like wine. I agree with that, but I'm also going to give Manny his credit because he's in the ring doing the work, and that's where I think we differentiate. But
I'm biased. That's why I brought it back around to like the legacy aspect of it too, because I understand what you're saying, and I don't think that it's a closed case right now. Because if Manny goes, and again, bro, this is a long shot, the whole undisputed thing, and it's a sad fact that is defeat now. Unbiased. Think about it. Whatever you want to say, that is a feat that it would take for him to surpass Floyd. He would have to do shit like that.
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
yeah, that's why I said it. That's why I said it like that.
But with that being said, if he accomplished that, and my only point when it comes to the legacy side of it now, is the fact that Floyd beat him, and we'll have him, this guy that accomplished that 4-belt undisputed on his resume, it's going to hold more weight too. So as Manny moves up, getting that undisputed with his legacy, it pushes Floyd up. I'm not saying that, oh, he always stays under him or any of that. I get your point, but it's still going to put more weight on Floyd's legacy as well, because he beat a fighter 5 years prior to going 4-belt undisputed. That has to be accounted for. So it's not just the same argument anymore. If it was the exact same argument, like, okay, well, Manny versus Floyd, now he got undisputed, now what? No, it becomes a total different argument again, because it puts more weight on the Floyd side as well.
And there's no accountability, and that's what irritates a lot of people like me, that there's no accountability when it comes to the Pacquiao side. Like, there just isn't. Okay.
No.
And the excuse for Manny not being in his prime versus Floyd went out the door, in my opinion, when Manny put the beating on Thurman, because we clearly see it had nothing to do with prime or age or anything like that. When Floyd's actually the older fighter,
that was always stupid anyway, because Floyd's older.
It was.
Yeah, but this is the point that I'm making, that there's no accountability on the Pacquiao side, and I'm not going to accuse unbiased or any Pacquiao. Certain of the Pacquiao fans, not every Pacquiao fan is a fanatic. You understand? So I get that. But my problem is that there's a gross lack of accountability when it comes to the look. You made a bunch of excuses about your shoulder after the fight, but I watched George Groves fight with an injured shoulder, and he still beat Chris Eubank Jr. I watched that. Zotto Ramirez
Listen.
got injured in the second Jesse Hart fight, and he
Listen.
still won the fight. So all that shit about your shoulder, that was excuses, bro. It's excuses.
Hey, Ring, I just want to point this out. If anybody knows me, they know I'm not that high on Manny Pacquiao myself, but I just like him as a fighter. You know what I'm saying? I'm really not a diehard fan. Battle Rifle will let you know that, because I came at him about Manny Pacquiao a couple of times with this Floyd shit. So, I like him as a fighter, and I like the fact he's still out here, still a champion, and still showing the heart he has in the ring. I just admire that.
I have mixed feelings about Manny Pacquiao still hanging around, because I saw what Sean Gibbons said leading up to the Sean Porter Errol Spence fight. I saw what Boo Boy Fernandez said leading up to the Sean Porter Errol Spence fight. They said they have to protect Manny because of his age. They said that he doesn't gain anything out of fighting the winner of that fight, and that's why in one of the last videos I uploaded, I view Manny as a distraction, bro. You a world champion. Are you gonna unify or not? Because you a world champion. All that cool inside, you a fucking champion, bro. What are you about to do? Who you about to fight? Because you holding up undisputed. Those are the facts. You holding it up. If you're not unifying, you're holding it up.
Yeah, that's what I didn't understand. And like when Errol Spence beat Sean Porter, right? They asked Manny, do you want to fight Errol Spence? And he was a bit apprehensive in his answer. Did he really went into that fight thinking that he was going to get the winner, meaning Sean Porter, as a better opportunity for him to forego his try to extend his illustrious career, that he had a better shot at beating him than Errol Spence? I don't know, because like Porter is a very tough fighter.
He is.
He brings it, and if you're gonna fight him, fight him. I say this like this: Floyd fought under PBC under the conditions that he felt that he was gonna get the Floyd fight. Like, okay, if you blame your poor performance on a bad shoulder, all right, fine. It's not for me to decide. I don't know. I'm not a fighter, so I don't know what's going on. But if he wants to run it back, then run it back, with Floyd. That's my thing. It always decide to decide the best. It got to be decided in the ring. I just wish, that in some, hopefully Floyd could maybe, give him a shot and give him another shot to run it back to prove.
I find it funny Manny only wants to fight Spence now after the car accident.
Yeah, I find
that's what I find funny. Because he wasn't talking that give me Spence fight until after Spence flipped his car a couple times. Now he wants to.
I'm going to say this unbiased. There's always been a disconnect between what you hear from Manny and what you hear from Manny's handlers. Because a couple of years ago, there was little interviews, little quotes from Manny saying, yeah, I'm open to fighting Crawford. But the reality of it was the people who handle your career, they said Crawford is not, nor has he ever been, on Manny's radar. No, we're not looking at him. We're looking at Vasyl Lomachenko. From 2016 till recently, that was the kind of stuff that you saw. So just because Manny's talking about fighting him, I don't qualify that shit, because Manny was talking about fighting Crawford when he was with Top Rank, and you never fought him, bro. You never fought him. I don't think that he's gonna go for undisputed. I don't.
No.
You're gonna fight Crawford. You're gonna fight Crawford and Spence. I think that's a pipe dream. Like, bro, you're not going for that. I don't think you're going for that.
At this point, it's like you got to keep his winning streak fighting, lesser opponents. I mean, there's talks of him fighting. Like they come out. Like, come on. There was actually a rumor that he was gonna fight McGregor.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Yo, I would agree with that though, but Bob Arum himself came out saying that Manny reached out to fight Crawford recently. And then on top of that, what else? Their team actually did say that they wanted the Spence fight, but somebody that they didn't say they wanted to fight was Sean Porter. So I could give you the Sean Porter, but
the Bob Arum thing, and I talked about that earlier last week, that my problem is that Bob is the only one saying that. I don't see Sean Gibbons or Boo Boy Fernandez or Manny saying, yeah, we reached out to Top Rank. We want that Crawford fight. Bob said, I seen Bob, he the only motherfucker that said that. And I'm like, well, I need confirmation, bro. I need confirmation. I need to see that it's equal on both sides.
I think Manny's an opportunist. I'm saying that wrong, the word wrong, but I think he's looking for weaknesses in certain champions. I'll give you that because when Thurman had that surgery, Manny wanted to fight him. Spence flips a car, Manny wants to fight him. Crawford gets dropped or looks vulnerable, Manny might want to fight him now. You know what I'm saying? So
perhaps that's a fair
why
point.
I look at it.
That's a fair I didn't think about it that way. That's a fair point. That now these motherfuckers, you got dropped by Mean Machine. This motherfucker flipping Ferraris. Now's a great time to be a unified champion. Finally. You know what I mean? Like finally. But
it's crazy.
In the same breath, like I said, it's the lack of accountability is what irritates me. That why do we sit here talking about all the people that Floyd didn't fight? Okay, Manny Pacquiao, why didn't you ever fight Kell Brook? You were around for a long time at the same time as him while he was IBF champion. You never fought him.
Yeah.
We never hear that shit, right? I don't do that petty shit. But if I'm gonna reciprocate what I see, if I'm gonna reciprocate what a lot of Pacquiao fans do, I could sit here and ask you, why you never fought Kell Brook? All right.
Yeah, bro. That's just crazy.
Go ahead.
I think it's just like the double standard. Like with the Kell Brook, you might hear somebody say, "Oh well, no, Kell Brook's big, this, that, and the third." Well, what the fuck? Jeff Paul wasn't small, was he? You know what I mean? So there's no excuses for like the double standards when it comes to this argument. It's a lot of double standards.
It is, and it's irritating. Like I'm like, every time Floyd's name is brought up, I hear cherry picker. Okay, Manny's fighting a lot of the same guys as him. So if Floyd's a cherry picker, what's Manny for fighting those same guys after Floyd beat them? It just doesn't make sense, bro. It makes no sense. Oh, Floyd didn't fight this person, bro. It's a lot of fucking people that Manny didn't fight. It's even here today. There's a lot of people that he didn't fight. But we don't hear that bullshit, right? Oh, Manny never. Man, come on, dog. Get the fuck out of here. That's bullshit. All right, it's bullshit. If you're gonna sit here crying to me that Floyd didn't fight Khan, you should be crying that Manny's still an active fighter and he still hasn't fought Khan. If it means that much to you. It don't mean shit to me because I know Floyd or Manny would have beat fucking Khan whenever they fought him. They would have beat him. I'm not sitting here vilifying Manny for not fighting Khan. I'm saying if you got energy to complain that Floyd didn't fight Khan, why you not complaining that Manny got a belt and still won't fight Khan? Don't make sense to me, man.
Bro, and you know what else is funny too? A lot of these hate motherfuckers that say that shit about Khan, right? You can ask them today if they think Floyd would have beat Khan, right? The answer has to be yes, because look what Crawford did to him. And you ask these guys, you think that either Spence or Crawford could have beat somebody like Floyd? Well, no, they couldn't beat Floyd. Crawford destroyed Khan.
Yep.
What the fuck do y'all think would have happened if Khan gets in the ring with Floyd anyway? Since he supposedly got them or didn't fight him. What do you think?
What's up, gentlemen?
What's going on, Mark? What's going on, Mark? We still having the same conversation, Mark.
Can I ask a weird question? Because it's something I thought of a little bit ago. If, let's say, God forbid, something were to happen. I know people don't like to say that. Manny Pacquiao ended up retiring, right? Right now, in the next 2 weeks, and he doesn't fight. Would you guys still consider him a 4-decade world champion? And the reason I ask is he didn't fight in this decade for the belt. He won it from previous decade. He only carried it in and never defended it within this decade. Would that make him a champion within this decade if he never fought within it?
If I'm generous, I'm going to say so long as Manny Pacquiao entered 2020 as a reigning champion in spite of having not defended the belt, the reality is when this year came, he was a champion, so it qualifies.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It qualifies. Like you came into 2020 as a world titleist. Even if you didn't defend it, you were still a titleist this year. So it counts. It counts.
But the ball is still on Manny's court to decide who he wants to fight. He still has the responsibility as a world champion to fight the best opponent out there available for him.
I mean, that's my problem with Manny still sticking around. That look, I understand you're older. I understand you don't have nothing to prove. I understand you have a sensational fucking resume. But when you got a belt, you either going to unify or you not. That's the reality. And if you not, then you obstructing the process. Somebody else could be holding that belt that perhaps they would unify. You beat Thurman for it, great. I'm glad you beat Thurman for it because we know he wasn't going to do shit. He wasn't going to do shit. So I'm glad you took it from him. But now I'm like, yo, Manny, are you gonna unify? What are you gonna do with the WBA title? Because I want to see an undisputed champion, and I don't feel like you're helping that situation.
And even if he doesn't, in my opinion, even if he doesn't fight one of the other champions, which at this point is Spencer Crawford, fight. Because like, don't just fucking hold the belt. Like, fight. Set up something and make sure it's a good opponent that will fight Crawford and Spence. Like, don't go fight some schmo that ain't gonna get in the ring to try to unify. Like, if you fight somebody like I don't know, Sean Porter or something like that, that you know will probably get in the ring and unify with Crawford and Spence, then kudos. But don't go fight fucking Red Cat or some shit like that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, don't like, because you know you're an older fighter. You're on borrowed time. Whatever fights you trying to have, they got to be big fights.
Count.
Yeah, you got to make them count. So, because you on borrowed time, you're a world champion, and so far it's like, all right, we know the COVID shit fucked everything up, so nobody got to have a fight. But when boxing comes back, all right, who you gonna fight, bro? And who you gonna fight after that? If you fight Mikey Garcia next, for example, you gonna retire on Mikey Garcia, or you gonna have another fight? And if you do have another fight, who's it gonna be? Because it looked like you holding up undisputed to me. That's what it looked like.
Yeah. Like, I feel he's more likely gonna fight Danny Garcia than he's gonna fight, Crawford or Spence.
Well, we already knew he wasn't gonna fight Spence, because when Spence beat Mikey Garcia, that was supposed to be his announcement, and that motherfucker, he fell all the way back.
Yeah.
That wasn't his announcement meant to be Porter, and he didn't really announce himself because a lot of people thought that was a close fight.
No. It was the one with Mikey Garcia. He was on. He was in the ring with the after that fight, and they asked him. Are you going to fight Errol Spence? And he was apprehensive in his answer.
I misheard.
Yeah.
I saw that ass whooping, and he paused on it, and now he's.
Oh yeah.
And then Keith Thurman, with that fight, that was supposed to be, everybody knows that was supposed to be Keith Thurman's get back year. He even said it. Like, I ain't taking no serious touches. I'm going to fight Riverside, do this, and the third. As soon as that Pacquiao opportunity opened up, you knew he was going to jump on it. That's and a legend on his resume. Now, the shit didn't go his way.
He had the it go back to what I said in the shit. He had the passing of the torch fight. Manny was finna pass you the torch, and you dropped the fucking torch. You dropped it.
Yeah.
And now you ain't the bottom of the barrel, but you ain't in like how he's doing right now. He's trying to call shots. Like, well, if Crawford says, who the fuck are you to entertain a nigga with a strap that's offering you a shot at it, and he's paying you for it?
Exactly.
Like, you got no bargaining chips. You lost that shit.
Exactly.
Like, he's out of the title picture.
That's the shit that killed me. That's the shit that killed me about, except for Sean, because I really don't think that Sean is like that. I don't think that Sean is like that. But that's what killed me about a lot of them guys. Like, Brody, you still acting like you a big name or a big this or a big that. Bro, you don't got no belt. You was in a passing of the torch fight and you dropped the fucking torch. We know you trying to skirt around a lot of motherfuckers. You've been doing that. So you gonna get fucking righteous with Crawford. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, I don't even believe that dude. I don't even believe that dude.
And then on top of that, son, the funny shit is he was saying, yo, I don't believe in the WBO. That's not a real belt. But you were the first one when he got to try that.
Breaking up.
Hey, I'm bad.
I was gonna say this. I'm not gonna have y'all disrespecting my dude Keith Thurman. Just one time for a reason.
No. He once upon a time. He's no longer one time. He's once upon a time Keith Thurman, man. I used to believe in him, man. But then, he
Bro, I
started,
used to
pussyfooting
believe in
Yo,
around with
Zone,
the
is that
spat
you,
fight.
Zone?
believe in him.
Yo,
That's
Zone, is that you, Zone?
Okay, now my whole thing was Bud got the WBO, right?
Yeah,
Right?
No,
yeah.
now all of a sudden that he got the WBO, he has no interest in it. He's like, if you send me a contract, I entertain it. But when Jeff Horn had it, he was willing to.
Now, I'm gonna say this, Charles. Remember, if Manny held the WBO many times, when he won it after Jesse Walker, he won it after Jesse. Jesse had beat Saddam Ali. He won a vacant WBO. Manny beat Jesse, right? Keith wasn't talking that, the WBO ain't real shit when Manny had the motherfucking shit.
Exactly. He started speaking that shit when Jeff Horn got it, and he was quick to jump on it.
Can I also say something on that though?
Now that Bud got it,
Now he don't want it.
I'll entertain it.
Can I say something though on the WBO
about
thing? Let me say something on the WBO thing. The PBC only in the last 2 years started unrecognizing the WBO. Like they publicly unrecognized that in all of their fighters. That's only like in the last 18 months, really.
Yeah, it is. Coincidence? I think not.
Yeah, but the
never
WBC changed their fucking rules every 6 months. They add some shit and take some shit out.
No, to Mark's point, what you gotta pay attention to is only when Terrence Crawford procured that belt did they start talking about, now we not gonna recognize that shit. Y'all was recognizing that shit when Manny had the motherfucking WBO and he was on the top rank side of things.
Well,
y'all was still recognizing that shit.
And he's a legend. And then once he lost that shit, everybody was chomping at the bits to get that belt, and they couldn't get it.
Yeah, PBC is fairly new. The only reason they're talking about it is because of Pacquiao.
No, I'm gonna give Battle a chance to defend Keith Thurman. Battle, it's your go.
Okay.
We got Zone Rifle in the house.
So look, I'm gonna shut down everything he bring up about the flute player. Yeah, Battle.
Okay, so first of all, they robbed my dude Keith Thurman in the Pacquiao fight. Beat that dude. They don't want to see it.
Okay, wait, Battle. I'm not joking. You scored it for Thurman.
You dang right, man. I scored it like 10-2. I just I just scored.
I was about to say you scream some weird shit like that, Battle, I'm gonna cook you.
That is about to get flamed seriously in here.
I was about to say, Battle, that nigga spit his mouthpiece out and caught it. You know how hard that shit is to do with a fucking boxing mitt?
If I'm being completely what you
that body shot that fucking Pacquiao hit Thurman with, that nigga spit his mouthpiece out and caught it. You know how hard it is to catch a gum shield with a goddamn boxing glove?
That was all purpose, B. He was trying to get a break.
If he was smart to get a break, he would have dropped that motherfucker. He caught that shit like motherfucking Gary Carter.
Yeah, you talking about he did the James DeGale? The James DeGale Cosby spit his mouthpiece out.
Bro, that motherfucker was like Odell Beckham catching that shit.
Now listen, I'll give a little credit to Keith Thurman. Like he tried to rally in the late rounds against Manny, even though he got knocked down.
What did y'all call it? How did you have it, Virtuoso? I had it 6-6 with Manny winning it because of the knockdown.
I had it 8-4. That's the way I look at it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I think Manny did. I think Thurman tried to rally when Pacquiao was slowing down in the later rounds. But yeah, the difference was the knockdown, and he was doing most of the work, throughout the first 6 rounds. That's the way I look at it. Manny, to me, is like, again, he's at a point where it's like, yeah, the hand speed is still there, but like he's slowing down, like due to his age. That's why I look at where he's at in the welterweight title picture. It's like he's not really making any bold decision making as far as who he wants to face. He's feeling like to me, it is kind of a cherry pick.
Really?
I don't mean to offend, but I'm just saying,
I'm
Like,
gonna say it was opportunistic. I see your angle.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
like Thurman
Yeah.
at that time because we saw what Thurman looked like with Lopez. So I mean, let's be honest with each other.
Yeah.
But he was a world champion, and I'm gonna choose the respect. I'm not gonna call him I'm gonna choose to respect it. Why? He's an undefeated world champion. He's 10 years younger than Manny Pacquiao. I still have to respect that.
Yeah.
Now I'm a battle. Go ahead, defend Keith Thurman.
Okay, so the guy was, in a sense, probably the number one welterweight between 2015 and 2016. You know, as far as, you know, the injuries, I mean, I get it. You know, guys get injured, you know, sometimes the elbows get blown out. It's part of boxing. And Keith one time, you know, was scalp collecting, man. He took Sean Porter. He didn't take his oath, but he took Danny's oath for the first time. Okay. So the fact of the matter is, back to back, unified. This guy was top of the weight class. Manny Pacquiao wasn't number one at the time.
Actually, I was gonna contest your point about 2015 and 2016. Keith Thurman wasn't number one. Nah, he was. I believe he was ranked ahead of Brook. Before a little while, it was Bradley. Then it went back to Pacquiao after he beat Bradley. And trying to remember, was Keith Thurman ever number one? Because I did a review on that, and I didn't see his name at number one. I didn't.
Okay, I'm sorry, my bad. I'll say 2017. 2017, before after he beat Danny Garcia. Got my timeline.
Keith Thurman went to number 10 in the Ring Magazine pound for pound rankings after the win over Danny Garcia, and he went to number 1 at welterweight.
You said he went what number?
Number 10 pound for pound, number 1 at welter.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. 2017.
That was in the Rings rating update the end of March, early April.
Okay. Because I tried to look up Rings. I don't know where to go to look up Rings monthly ranking.
No, I had a video on it. I'm sure it's on my file somewhere. I'll find it.
I tried to look up Rings annual rankings because that's the only ones I can Google search, the annual rankings, which is really only one set of rankings because it's it's 11 other fucking months that have to be accounted.
Well, go to April on TBRB or whatever.
Mark got it filed away in that computer upstairs in his brain. I said that motherfucker locked in right there, dog. Trust me, it's there. Go look for it. I bet you it's there.
I felt that Keith Thurman was at the highest point of his career in 2017. You know, then he got married, and I guess he had that hand injury. You know, and it's like, it's just never been the same since.
He just had that one. He just had that one injury. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And then it's just like, it's like, maybe I'll fight Spence, but we gotta let it marinate. You know, it's like, oh God. I was really.
He was always apprehensive about fight. The thing.
His whole energy chose when it came to Spence.
Exactly. Like,
and his whole energy changed when it came to Bud. He told them niggas get a strap. Exactly. Once they got a strap, that's when I got herpes. I got bone spurs. I got all kinds of weird shit.
They was talking.
I nutted in my wife. I can't fight. No, I'm kidding.
They was.
I broke my bone marrow.
They was talking to Thurman about fighting fucking Spence for years, bro. And the energy always looked like, Brody, you don't really want that fucking fight. That's how you acting. You don't really want that fucking fight.
Julius, I want to say this. I want to correct myself. It was actually August because Pacquiao was still number 1. It wasn't until after Pacquiao lost a horn that Keith Thurman went above Pacquiao.
And Pacquiao and the whole number 1 thing with Pacquiao, don't get me wrong, he could have been number 1 after Floyd retired, but it was political to get him to be lineal with Timothy Bradley.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah,
I mean, if we had to compare Bradley's resume at that time when he was WBO champion to Thurman's resume at that time, Bradley had the better resume, and I believe that Bradley was ranked ahead of Thurman up until he lost the rubber match to Manny. In what was that, 2016?
Mm-hmm. Shit, I thought that was 2015.
Now that was that 2015 or 2016?
It probably was 2015 because around that time, you know, that's when Floyd didn't retire until
Timothy
the Berto
Bradley.
fight?
The last fight with Timothy Bradley was 2016. It was
All right.
90.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the first fight.
The first fight with Timothy Bradley.
Nah, because you got to remember, Timothy Bradley vacated the WBO. He was the WBO champion ahead of the Pacquiao fight. He the third shit. He had a belt and he was ranked. I believe he was ranked number 1. I believe. He vacates the title. That's how Jesse Vargas ended up getting the shit. Jesse and Saddam Ali, they end up fighting for the shit. Bradley has the rubber match with Pacquiao. He loses the rubber match. I believe that bumped Manny up in the ranks.
Yeah, but wasn't that 2015 or was it 2016?
No, it was 2016 because remember, Floyd and Manny was 2015, and Manny didn't have any other fight that year.
Oh, okay. So I had the year off.
Floyd retired late 2015 in September.
To answer your question, Jakal, ain't no Lineal right now. Floyd retired the Lineal, so number 1 and number 2 got to fight for there to be a new Lineal, and that hasn't happened yet.
You see, that's always a fucking weird one, depending on who you ask, because like it depends on if you ever ranked Pacquiao and Bradley as a Lineal fight, because Top Rank publicized it as it, but like Cyberzone Boxing, they didn't full-fledged on that, and they're the ones who take care of the lineage shit along with Ring.
There's a precedence, though. There is a precedence because after he lost to fucking Floyd, Bradley was, I believe, either number 1 or number 2. So there is a precedence. I know that TBRB don't have it that way. They don't have it that way.
Yeah. So I don't know if it was or not, but like you could make a weird, obscure argument that Terrence Crawford could be Lineal if you really wanted to.
Yeah, you could. If Manny versus Bradley 3 decided who was the Lineal based on those 2 fighters being number 1 and number 2, okay, we know Manny won a fight. Manny won a fight, that would have made him Lineal. Then he loses the Horn, that makes Horn Lineal. Then Horn loses to Crawford, that makes Crawford Lineal. But everybody don't qualify that shit. And that's because everybody don't qualify Bradley out 3 as the Lineal for the Lineal. I don't, but you know, you could though. If you want, you could.
Yeah, because this is such a weird thing about ratings. Like I'm gonna be completely honest. As long as I've been trying to make lists, I try to be as fair as I can. That's why I look at a lot of things. I don't just look at one particular thing. So when I'm doing the top rated welterweights or the top rated, fighters in general, period, or I'm just ranking the top 5 pound for pound, whatever, I try to rank it as fair as I can. Losses are so difficult to really put on a list. That is the only thing I cannot find a good solution to. Because, okay, so let's say if I'm going to make a welterweight list right now. Now, of course, Errol Spence is looking like he's the number 1 guy. Of course, I would put Pacquiao there because he beat Keith Thurman. But let's just say, for information, we're talking about Errol Spence. Errol Spence, let's say he's number 1. Would I all of a sudden just put Sean Porter lower than Terrence Crawford because he lost to Errol Spence? Now, yes, he did lose to Errol Spence, so he probably should go lower, right? But then again, he still has a better resume as far as welterweight than Crawford does. So how do I really put it together? It's hard. It's hard. Judging losses is so hard.
All right, now let me address Lawrence's comment. Yeah, Bradley did vacate in February of 2016. He vacated so that he would have the Pacquiao rubber match. He did vacate. I don't know who said
It was a vacant.
Yeah, but Floyd vacated.
I thought-
Floyd vacated all the straps at 54 after he beat Canelo.
Yeah. But he's talking about what we was just talking about, that Bradley vacated the WBO. Bradley had the WBO. Then he let it go ahead of the Pacquiao, the third Pacquiao fight. The belt became vacant. Then Jesse Vargas and Saddam Ali for that belt. And that's the belt that Manny ended up winning from Vargas. That's the belt he ended up losing from Jeff Horn. So, yeah, Bradley did vacate. Just look it up. In February 2016, he vacated the title.
Because didn't he won the interim by beating Vargas in 2015, and then he got elevated in the fight with Bam Bam Rios, and then he vacated the title, and then
there you go.
Yeah, when he became a fireman with the Atlas.
Yeah,
You're a fireman.
Rios.
Yeah.
Stop Rios with a body shot.
Banish all belts.
Ring Magazine currently has number 1 Spence, number 2 Crawford, number 3 Pacquiao. That's fair. Spencer's
Yeah,
unified.
that fits. He's got 2 of the straps. I
Yeah,
can see that.
I think I would give number 1 to Pacquiao, but you know,
Nah. Well,
there's an
where we
argument.
go? But why are we doing it by present resume, or we doing it by straps? Because
Well,
if you're doing it by
if
straps,
we're
then
going to do it by an accumulation of work, right? In the last 4 years, Manny Pacquiao has beaten 2 world champions, three top 10 guys. Jesse Vargas was WBO champion when Manny fought him. Keith Thurman was WBA champion when Manny fought him. I believe that Lucas Matisse was in the top 10. I believe.
yeah, he was in the
Bradley
top 10.
definitely was in the top 10 when they fought for the 3rd time. That was in 2016. So he got an argument that he was fighting top 10 guys the last 4 years. And if you looking at his whole body of work and that he still got a belt today, you could argue that he should be number 1. You could, but
Shit,
I don't.
he's got a prominent belt.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's an argument there. Like it's if somebody told me they got Manny as the number 1 welterweight today, I wouldn't argue with them.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
even argue with when people say who got the best resume at welterweight, because if you want to really look at it,
Pacquiao.
everybody will always say
Pacquiao stands out
Yeah,
above the
exactly,
rest.
because if you
Pacquiao has the
if you
best
don't put
resume
Pacquiao
in
in that
boxing.
conversation, they'll always say Thurman and Porter. But that's because they only fought each other and who's right there right now. But if you want to look at it from
Well,
an
Sean
overall
Porter has a
standpoint,
good.
but I'm just saying from an overall standpoint, man, you got to look at
Well,
Manny.
even overall, Sean Porter has some good 140-pounders on his resume. I know maybe some people don't count him, but you know with the Devin Alexander win, he has.
Yeah, but that's the same thing with.
No,
I'm
Sean has a great fucking resume. Enough don't get said about Sean's resume, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about just that he fought Brooke. I'm talking about people that he beat. Sean has a good resume, man. Very
He
good.
does. It's better. I would say it's better than Crawford. I mean, Crawford's campaigning at welterweight is kind of abysmal.
It is.
Being that he's on Top Rank, and the other ones and the rest are on PBC.
Yeah, like
It's tough,
he has some
but
really good fucking wins here, bro. Like he really does.
yeah,
He does. I'm not saying that Paulie Malignaggi is a dope name. I'm saying that part of like a body of work that you have Alexander, that you have Malignaggi, that you have Broner, that you have Berto, you got Garcia, you got Ugas. It's a good fucking resume, man. I'm not gonna say it's the best because you lost your big fights. Your big fights, you lost them shit. But it's still a good fucking resume.
Ring,
Yeah.
can I just say something real fast? I just want to respond to Lawrence again, like because he said Bradley turned down the vacant title fight with Ali. Bradley turned it down to fight Pacquiao 3. Then Vargas stepped in. Bradley vacated the title. Go look at go check the Brandon Rios fight out. That's for the actual full belt. He was elevated. He was elevated to WBO.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was the interim, then he was elevated after the Floyd retirement.
Yeah, that's not an opinion. I'm about to pull that motherfucker up right now. The article ain't hard to find. I was just looking at it.
Bro, you don't even need to do that. All you need to do is literally just pull up the fucking fight in the end of the fight, and it says, and now the 2-time WBO welterweight champion of the world.
No, I'm only doing it because it's easy, because we got screen share. I'm gonna show it to him so he can look at it right quick. Here you go, Lawrence. February 2016, Timothy Bradley vacates WBO welterweight title with Manny Pacquiao fight on deck.
Cannot argue the facts.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Like, I mean, I remember that wasn't that long ago. That's when Tim Bradley just got with Teddy Atlas and he was a fireman. That wasn't that long ago.
That's one of my favorite fights to watch, just because of Teddy Atlas.
Yeah, you're a fireman.
Yeah, he made that fight entertaining.
Are you a fireman?
We're firemen. We're firemen.
Maybe I got it confused. It's either Riddick Boy or Bernard Hopkins. Isn't one of them the first person to hold like all 4 belts like simultaneously? I think it was probably. Go ahead.
You talking? No. You talking about the first 4 belt champion?
Yeah.
Bernard.
Yeah, it was Bernard.
Bernard.
And then he vacated. Well, he didn't vacate. He was stripped because of the Taylor fight. I remember.
Well, actually, he lost, and then I think Taylor was stripped.
Taylor was stripped. Taylor was a
Taylor,
four champion too, but he was the one stripped.
Yeah, I got it backwards. Taylor was going to give Bernard the rematch, but he had a mandatory lined up. Then he had to cough up the IBF.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure out what.
Julius,
Go ahead, Virtuoso.
Julius, let me ask you a question. When did the WBO became like a major sanctioning body? Like when did they start recognizing that as a major title?
I would say it wasn't that long ago. I'll tell you that. I think it was the 2000s because it wasn't always recognized by the other three.
Yeah,
I think it was about early 2000s, wasn't it? When they
I thought
started.
it was like late 90s, right?
Yeah, something like that. Because it
was around. Look, that title's been around since the 80s. It wasn't until the early 2000s.
No. But it was recognized. It was recognized in the 90s. Like,
no, it wasn't recognized by the other sanctioning bodies.
Because Lennox didn't. Lennox
yeah,
was
it wasn't recognized in the 80s, but I think it was recognized like the late.
No, it wasn't.
The late 90s.
Damiani wasn't the recognized world champion.
It had to be at some point when Vladimir Klitschko was the lineal champ, wasn't he?
That's around the time because Lennox was called undisputed and he never held the WBO, but he was undisputed even though he wasn't holding it. And the WBO.
O'Neal Bell was called undisputed. I don't think he was holding the WBO either.
Damn, he brought up O'Neal Bell. God damn.
Was O'Neal Bell WBO?
Shit, I'm surprised people know about O'Neal Bell.
Shit, fucking box rack.
Yeah, now I gotta look this shit up. Because I remember O'Neal Bell. Was he the WBO? You said WBO, right?
Yeah.
That's what I said.
All right. Hold on, I'll let you know right now.
No, he wasn't. He was recognized as undisputed when he fought against Mormek. He knocked him out. He held the WBC, the WBA, and the IBF, and he was recognized, and that was in 06. So probably around 07.
God damn.
Yeah. It's a baby belt.
Damn, so he didn't hold that either? So what the fuck was... Damn, what belts did Chad Dawson hold?
Lineal.
Man, these belts are so confusing.
Yeah, and I don't get Lineal because in order to get Lineal status, you got to beat the man who beat the man.
It was reformed by the number 1 and the number 2 in division.
Yeah, I mean, Lineal, look, to be honest, the Lineal championship is not complex, right? Whoever's the consensus number 1 and number 2 at the time, like if Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor fight, they the consensus number 1 and number 2 140-pound fighters no matter where you look. That's Lineal. In spite of neither one of them having fought Terrence Crawford, they can't fight. They couldn't have fought Crawford because Crawford left. So the new Lineal is based on whoever's number 1 and whoever's number 2, and whenever they fight. And that's more of that's the simple way to look at it.
Didn't Chad Dawson? Didn't Chad Dawson beat Hopkins? Didn't Chad Dawson beat Hopkins, who beat Pascal, who like Pascal beat Hopkins number 1 versus 2 or something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because it was vacated by Zol 30 in 09.
If we're being completely honest, Ring IQ, it shouldn't be hard to understand, but you know, with all these rankings and sanctioning bodies, they make it hard because when you're looking at the number 1 and number 2 guys, which ranking are you looking at? Are you looking at Ring TV? Are you looking at transnational boxing? You know, it's a bunch of stuff. Like
that's why you got to look at all 4, bro. You got to use all 4. You got to use transnational. You got to use Ring. You got to use Box Rec. And usually when the stars align, they all, at least for number 1 and number 2, it's the same guy, same guys.
Well, also you have to take into account that politics play into it because I remember, I don't know if you met Fight Doctor before, but he was talking about how, you know, since earlier fighters in the past have held on to the lineal title in retirement, then fighters of today, like Tyson Fury, should be able to. And I don't think that's fair, but you know, that's his mindset on it.
Yeah, but battle, Klitschko beat the man who beat the person.
Yeah,
he didn't. He didn't, Charles.
He did not.
The way that Klitschko,
he didn't beat Lennox, but he beat.
Klitschko's lineal was formed by beating Ruslan Shagoyev, who was number 3 in the division.
No.
Vitali was number 2.
Yeah, I was changing it up. He beat Lennox, but Lennox never beat he never beat the Lineal holder
gonna
either.
say-
That's
I'm
why I'm
gonna
saying
say-
I don't know how the fuck
honestly,
that
I
shit
wouldn't-
works.
I wasn't trying to deny that Vladimir Klitschko wasn't Lineal. If you want to call him Lineal, fine. He was heavyweight champion for 10 years. I get it. If you want to call him Lineal, fine.
That's what I was
It's-
gonna say, Battle. That even though because it wasn't a textbook number one versus number two situation, he established himself as the authority of that fucking weight for 9 fucking years, bro. 9 years. If he not Lineal, who is?
Yeah, like that.
Probably
He was a
Harrison.
consensus #1 heavyweight champion in the world.
Yeah.
Shannon Briggs because he didn't fight.
But
Shannon
there's
Briggs.
but it's like being a lineal champ. You gotta deal with the compromises of the lineage being broken. But I understand. I understand that.
You want to know something
that?
funny? Wasn't Shannon Lineal twice?
Yeah, but then he got beat by Vitaly.
I can make a good claim though that Tyson Fury gave up his lineal claim when he got suspended by the British Boxing Board of Control.
Bro, he retired. He actually announced his retirement on Twitter.
He might have announced his retirement, but mate, he was.
I mean, I'll take that point, Battle. I'll take that point because they say there's only 3 ways to lose the Lineal: losing in combat, retire from boxing, which Fury did, or die. So I understand if somebody say, "Look, I don't view Fury as the Lineal because he retired," I'm not gonna argue with you because you're not wrong.
You can lose it via suspension.
I've never seen that. I've never seen
Muhammad Ali.
That's fair. That's fair. That is fair.
You can classify that as retirement. Kind of.
No, his boxing license was suspended.
That's fair. I could accept that.
That's a good point. But no, I can't bring that up. That's Volanoid.
All right, look. Fury Joshua and Spence Crawford. Lineal fights.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Even if Fury wasn't like, let's say you don't view Fury as the Lineal when he came back, right?
Him and Joshua is for lineal.
It would be for Lineal. Him and Joshua would still be for Lineal because Fury's #1. But then again, some people have. I don't know why they got Wilder #2. I don't understand that shit.
Wilder's not at #2. Come on.
Wilder's not even #2. And I respect the websites that I saw. They got him at #6 and #7 and #8. I can see why they doing that.
You
But
talking about now or before the fight?
I'm talking about after the fight.
I think BoxRec has him, and I'm gonna look again because I heard they had an error, so I'm gonna check it again. Yeah,
No, they got him at 6.
They got him at #2. They got him
always
at
have
#2.
errors, bro.
They got Wilder.
I don't
They got
consider
Wilder at
BoxRec.
#2.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Yeah,
I can see him being at where they first had him at, like 5 or 6. I can see that.
BoxRec
Because you got it. But my bad, go ahead, Battle.
I was saying BoxRec has a point-based system that they change every 5 minutes.
I'm gonna look at TBRB to see where they got him. If they got this motherfucker at #2, that shit don't make no fucking sense whatsoever. It literally
From what I saw the last time, he was 5 and 6 at best, and that makes sense because he lost.
Nah.
All right, TBRB shit is different.
But you gotta listen to me, D.
Hold on. Let me tell him. Tyson Fury is the Lineal in TBRB, and Anthony Joshua is #1. Behind Joshua is Wilder in TBRB. He's #2.
There we go. There we go. And see, now, Charles D, before you say whatever you was going to say, I'm with TBRB.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to entertain or hear this bullshit about putting all of these guys over top of Wilder because he lost to Fury.
No. That's not.
Charles, let me get it out, my nigga. Let me get it out.
All right.
If somebody tells me that they got Wilder ranked at like 5 or 6, and that's fair. My thing is, who the fuck are the other 3 guys that goes ahead of him? Because the same way that I say we can't just say that Fury's going to walk in there and smash AJ because he beat Wilder, but you got to put it in reverse. Wilder lost to Fury, who's basically considered #1 heavyweight right now. So we can't just dump on him and start saying Dubois and all of these motherfuckers.
That's fair. That's
be ranked over top of him because he lost to Fury.
That's fair.
So I'm not with that.
I would not even put. This is why I say it's fair for him to be in the top 3, 4, 5, whatever, how they want to, because you got to work your way back up. You lost the Fury. Hold on.
I got you.
You
Go
lo-
ahead. Go ahead.
You lost the Fury, right? The first one was, iffy with that draw bullshit. Wilder did better in the first fight than he did in the second fight was a whitewash. You didn't give fucking Dillian White his shot. You put that shit on the back burner. Ruiz took your spot because you didn't want you felt like, all right, well, fuck it. I'm not gonna take that. You had Andy Ruiz jump in front of you and do some shit you should have done.
Now let me give you a set of ranks. This is how I would have it. I would have Tyson Fury at the top, Anthony Joshua behind Tyson Fury.
I agree with that.
This is where it's gonna get tricky, and I'm gonna tell y'all why. I would have Dillian White. I would have Dillian White ahead of Wilder. Why?
Competition. Fights.
The both of y'all have only lost one fight apiece. What's the difference? You literally just lost your fight. Dillian White has not lost in years, bro. This dude has not lost.
And his fight was to fucking AJ. Like,
exactly.
That I can accept Dillian White being over him, but for Wilder fans that would argue that, which, like I said, I can totally accept that one. Like I said, 3 or 4, no less than that. But the Dillian White, the Wilder fans, with the ones with any sense in their fucking head, would say that, yeah, that they both have a loss on their fight, but Wilder is a former champion, whereas Dillian White is not.
I'm a Wilder fan. I ate crow. I do all that shit. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
I wasn't even mad that they had him top 5, top 6, and he wasn't in the top 3. I wasn't even mad at that, just because of the points that I brought up.
I can also say that Fury never defended his belt.
That's true too.
Okay, that's cool. He never defended his belt, but look who he beat.
That's true too. That's like I get when people say
when you want to look at competition, look at who
that's
he
why
beat compared
that's why that undisputed fight needs to happen.
And that's fair. Fury has never defended a single fucking belt that he's ever had, dog. Not one.
Nope. But he's always won. He always found a way to win.
I think if we had like our own
sports center now, guys. Damn it.
What's that thing that HBO has when they do when they talk about who's the best in the division? You remember that thing had
20 the 24/7 joint.
Yeah. Okay, so if we had like a 24/7 joint and all of us like on the panel, and let's say that we would actually talk about who's the best in the division, we could always lead with, our list is not perfect. You can take what you will about it, but we go by a certain set of rules, and this person fits this criteria the best, whether it's AJ Fury or White or Dillian White. I mean Wilder or Dillian White.
I would have to give it. But see, all right, I have no issue with anybody ranking Fury as the consensus #1 heavyweight in the world. The resume.
He's the top dog. He's the undefeated.
Just beating
undefeated.
You beat fucking Clip 9 years of this motherfucker, dog.
And then you get a draw with Wilder, which he should have won.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm a Wilder fan. I agree. The first fight should have went to him, but then you get ass whooping from pillar to post in the second fight. That was clear cut. That's it.
That's dominant.
Yeah, exactly. That's dominance. Then you want to look at AJ. Okay, they could have been before that loss to Andy Ruiz. Okay, they're 1A, 1B. He lost to Ruiz.
Yeah.
He came back, redeemed himself, made adjustments, did what he was supposed to do. So there goes 1A and 1B out the window. So you got 1 and 2, AJ Fury. Now go to 3.
I would say it's White, man. I was like, the reason I say White, and this is just the way I would do the ranks. Okay.
Resume.
Yeah, resume is 1 and a number of losses. Dillian White has not had a setback since 2015. Wilder's setback just happened. So, all right, White should be ranked ahead of you, bro. Yeah, you was a champion, but if we honest, have you actually fought as many top 10 fighters as Dillian White? I'm curious. Because right now you're neck to neck.
And then after that, you can arguably throw Ruiz in there because Ruiz took that shit on short notice and shocked the fucking world. He monkey wrenched that whole fucking undisputed plan.
Yeah.
Now he looked like shit in the second fight, but let's not take away from what he did in the first fight.
And I'm like, I wouldn't bump Wilder down to motherfucking 6 or 7. That wouldn't make sense.
No. I said top 5 or 6.
Yeah. Maybe 3, maybe 4 even, but nothing below top 5, because it's one fucking fight at the end of the day. And you also have to factor in that, okay, you lost the fight, you got your fucking ass beat, but it was to a top 5 heavyweight. So yeah, it's got to count for something.
To make it easier, all you can do is just, I think an easier way to do it is just give Lineal to whomever is undisputed.
That's fair.
That's where I'm waiting on. That's literally all. I don't have to recognize Lineal myself until undisputed. I haven't recognized number 2.
Well, for
I haven't
me,
recognized number 2.
Till somebody knock Fury off, he gonna hold that Lineal because
To
he been
me,
campaigning. He been
I
campaigning with that
recognize
shit for now. So you knock Fury off, he got Lineal and WBC until he fights.
Yeah, I recognize him. If y'all don't, I understand. Not going to debate it, but I do recognize him as the Lineal because yes, he retired, but he came back, and because he came back, that reestablishes him as the authority. Because Joshua and Wilder never fought for the number 1 and number 2 spot. Since y'all didn't get the fight for whatever reason, politics, whatever, you did not establish a new Lineal. So the old Lineal comes out of retirement. All right, he's the fucking Lineal. Y'all didn't establish a new one, so he's the Lineal.
Well, my thing goes back to Klitschko. I never recognized him, so I'm gonna stay consistent.
Well, for me, Tyson was he was campaigning. That was the whole shit. How they sold the shit. Wilder's the WBC. Fury's the Lineal. Fury beat the fucking noodles out this nigga. He got both.
Yeah. I mean, the argument, it's hard for me to sit here like, damn, this dude, he beat Vlad, who was champion for 9 years. Then he beats Wilder, who was champion for 5 years. Like, bruh, like, nah, he Lineal, man. That dude is Lineal, man.
This is why they should have tournaments. That way you know who's the best is the last man standing.
Yeah, but the promoters don't like tournament formats. They don't like that shit.
And didn't they promote Wilder Fury as number 1 versus number 2 anyway?
He's Lineal, so I mean.
No, they were saying that it was the number 1 heavyweight versus the number 2 because Joshua lost.
Let me answer Audi's question. Where is it? What if Lennox came back? If Lennox came back, he wouldn't be the Lineal because there's a Lineal established. That's the point I'm making. If in the absence of Tyson Fury, a Lineal champion would have been decided, then upon Fury's return, no, you can't be the Lineal. When you retired, a new Lineal was established. But the fact that one never was, when you came back, all right, you still the Lineal because we ain't got a new one. That's how I look at it. Anyway, you know what I'm saying, man. They need to fight, man. They need to fucking fight. I'm starting to get this fucking feeling that they might not.
Well, I'll say this: all the questions will be answered. Fury will defend the belt because he never did that, so he'll beat the shit out of Wilder. That'll be his title defense. He'll beat the shit out of Joshua, and that'll be his show enough Lineal. Now, all the questions answered. Fury the man.
You know what? You know why I get that feeling? Because that fight got a lot of fucking problems, bro. To make that fight is a lot of fuck. And I'm not just talking about because Wilder. Now, fuck Wilder. Let's say Fury beat Wilder, right? You got a problem between ESPN and DAZN, and you got a problem between BT Sport and Sky Sports. It's tough. Who's gonna get that fight? Who's gonna get the broadcasting rights for that fight in America? Who's gonna get them? Who's gonna get the broadcasting rights for that fight in the UK? That's what make it look like, yo, that fucking fight it's gonna be hard to make that shit.
I personally think it's not going to be as hard as some people think when it comes to networks, and I'll give you my only reason why. I think and people are going to hate hearing me say that, I believe that fight's going to Saudi Arabia.
All right.
I genuinely do. And because of time differences and everything, I don't think ESPN are going to put a bid in to try and get that in on pay-per-view at 2 p.m. American time. between two British fighters. So I think DAZN are going to pay for that.
So you don't think that ESPN is going to put up a fight to? Because I mean, you see what they're talking about. Oh, and these like the Todd Duboff guy. He talking about the fight need to be in America. I'm like, why the fuck does the fight need to be in America for who? So you could charge me $80? Is that why?
Apparently all big time boxing should take place in America, even if it's the British fighters fighting for it, because America owns everything. Fuck off.
I agree. I'd rather see that.
I hope that shit takes place in fucking Iceland on top of a geezer, so nobody can fucking say anything.
Was Gerald McClellan versus Nigel Benn pay-per-view?
Oh shit! I don't know. Was it? Shit. Only thing I know is that look, obviously ESPN is invested in I mean they gotta be invested if they gave this fucking guy $30 million fucking dollars. They have to be. You guaranteed this man $30 million fucking dollars. That tells me that okay, ESPN cares about this fucking guy. And they might want the rights for that fight because this is why we got the motherfucker. We signed him to a deal for this. Are we gonna let it go to the Saudi Arabians? Because that's not a good time zone for us. I don't know, man. I don't. It's gonna be interesting watching them negotiate that fucking fight. It's gonna be real interesting.
I just don't know if they can outbid the DAZN plus the site fee from Saudi Arabia combined.
That is true.
Because the DAZN will put up near enough the same amount of money, and then plus site fee, bruh.
That's true.
And what will Saudi Arabia pay for that? Like $427 trillion or some fucking stupid ass shit.
I heard they willing to put up $250 million fucking dollars.
Well, there you go. That fight's going to Saudi Arabia.
That's fucking gonzo right there.
Off subject, but did you hear how apparently Jeff Bezos is going to be the world's first trillionaire by 2026?
Not if his wife keeps divorcing him, he ain't.
I mean, of course, he's not going to. I don't think he's going to get married within a span of 6 years. I mean, well, you never know. But anyway, I think, that would be incredible. Everybody, struggling through the epidemic, and this dude's still making the most. It's crazy.
Oh, he's making a fuck ton because everybody's buying shit off of Amazon because too many people are afraid to go outside right now. Shout out to Bezos, the world's baldest country.
That is insane. The world's first trillionaire. I didn't think we was going to see that for, I don't know if we was ever going to see that, in my opinion.
How much is he worth right now?
$1 trillion? Like what?
Man,
how much Bezos worth right now?
Like over 100 billion.
Yeah, fair play to the man. Salute.
That's fucking crazy to me. That I don't know, man.
I got €5 in my pocket right now.
It's just when you got that kind of money, you can solve a lot of problems, and it's kind of scary to see how selfish people are. That you can have that kind of money, and these kind of problems don't get solved. Because if it was me, right, if I'm a trillionaire, which probably is why I would never make it to be a trillionaire, because I'm too generous. If it was me, I'd be building houses for the fucking homeless, bro. Yeah. Why not? I got it. I got the money. The government don't got to pay me back for it. I'll build it. I'll finance it.
Right. When you're a trillionaire, you can buy anything. Like anything you want, you can literally get it.
It's not.
You can't buy one thing.
What?
You can't buy fucking Undisputed, apparently.
Hey, look, I'm about to say DJ very bad boy. Hey, look, check it out though. If you have $1 trillion, this is something people gotta understand too. It really doesn't matter the type of money you spend, because even to get to that amount of wealth, you have so many sources of income coming through. Like you're earning money on a daily basis that you can't spend enough of it. So projects like what Ring IQ is talking about, you could build shit like that all around the country. I mean, and your businesses would fund that 10 times over. You still would never lose if you were.
Yeah, and what's scary to me is, there's people out there that have this kind of means, but you still got, like, for example, I always thought about the country of Haiti, right? Haiti is the most impoverished country in the Western Hemisphere, right? And a guy like Jet, like yo, you could pull them out of that, bro. Like you could though. You by yourself. What you got?
But you run the risk of like communism and people like thinking like you delving in business you shouldn't. And it's hard being that guy. You know,
I mean, but you don't have to establish yourself as a political power to give them the ability to sustain themselves. You're not trying to control what they're doing. You're giving them the cash crops. You're giving them the irrigation, the agriculture that they don't have so that they could get on their own 2 feet without you having to be a sovereign ruler of their country.
Paul B in the comments said, with $1 trillion, you could bribe yourself to undisputed.
Bro, check this out. Like, you guys think about $1 trillion, right? So you take $1 trillion, you take $300 billion, and whatever the fuck you decide to do with that, because that's a Google amount of money. You still have $700 billion sitting on the side. If you just put that to the side for interest, you can bail countries out with the interest that brings back. $700 billion.
Yeah.
I can't even comprehend us talking about this.
Never fucking lose money. Never fucking lose a dime.
Bro, I can't even comprehend that we're even talking about that amount of money. I mean, like, it's just too many zeros, bro. Like, too many O's. I'm getting Floyd Mayweather written all over me here. Can we walk away from this?
So you think it's unlikely?
There's Floyd Mayweather rich, and then there's Jeff Bezos rich.
Bro, that's
just
what I said. The Saudi Arabians are gonna pay Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua to fight in a tub of mayonnaise. They're gonna be
I'll be honest, I would watch. No homo.
It's insane. It's a fucking these petrol states, man. They just buy these fights like nothing. Like look what they did with the WWE. They're just throwing money at them.
Yeah,
and
they got it. Like they could tell Tyson Fury and Joshua, yo, look, y'all gonna fight on a slice of bread, a gigantic slice of bread. Frank Warren to hold the butter knife. And
Frank Warren there. Frank Warren there doing the fucking shoulder roll and shit, man, and his little Tweedledee.
Yo, they could pay Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren to have a fucking fight. How much money they got?
Let me put it like this, yo. Your Instagram crush, your Instagram model, is being bought off by these fucking petrol state niggas that are just they're just shitting on their fucking chest, yo.
Yeah,
that's just.
Oh my god, I heard about that. You was on the Breakfast Club, wasn't you? You was on the Breakfast Club. You're that from that interview.
Nah, I didn't hear that from the interview, but there was a YouTuber who brought that up. You know that the Instagram models they used to get flown halfway across the world, you know, to visit the Saudi royal family, you know, and they have their underlings, you know, and their fucking nepotism over there where they could just throw money at them, you know, and degrade them.
Yeah, but that's tough. But you know what? I'm gonna say,
great to be rich.
That's on them broads. That's willing to take that L. That's on that. Like, yo, if you really love money that much and you don't love yourself enough, it all depends on what your perspective is. Like, look, right? Bitches out here catching L's on a regular basis, right? They literally out here catching L's on a regular basis for free. So if the Saudi Arabian prince is like, yo, look, bitch, give you $1 million to swim in a bucket of my piss. That's one day, though. After that, you gonna have OD cash. So perspective is everything. Like, yeah, I might have had to swim in some piss, but that's better than working your dead end fucking job. So it's how you look at it. Like,
it's kind of funny to me that at the same time they'll throw out a fucking inspirational quote, you know, like, but like what they do on the side, man, it just blows my mind, man.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it does. Honestly,
they will drop these inspirational quotes.
Them bros get that on Kelly pissed all over.
I love that, man. You know full well she's been swimming in a big bucket of piss, and then she'll be like saying, "I'm just making my way through life. Stay strong, always be you, and you'll get there."
Yeah, like she gets a condo for the first time, and they'll be like, "What's your what do they call it? The interest, like how much you're getting?" They'd be like, "Oh yeah, I got it. I got this much coming in." "Oh, okay. Where you work at?" Well, funny thing is, like
real shit though, like because it's so fucking hollow. Like the new cliche now, when it comes to people and what they try to project is pseudo, it's humble pseudo. is being fake humble, basically. Like, yo, you fake humble. You over here releasing inspirational quotes, but you doing a doggy paddle in a bucket of piss to get your money. That's how you keep your lights on. Talking all this fucking
Word.
bullshit. This Tony Robbins shit.
Yeah. Just keep it a buck, you know?
Just keep it a beam, mama. You suck a lot of dick for cash. And then they sent you over there. The Saudi Arabian prince was like, yo, look, I want you to fuck my dog. Can you fuck my dog? I want to watch.
How
Look,
much
my
we
little
talking
bro,
to
he's
fuck
only
the dog?
12 years old.
How much are we
That's
talking
what,
about to
nuts,
have
man.
sex with the dog?
That's what Boosie doing. Well, not really, but you know, you heard of that situation.
How much are they
Yeah.
getting paid to fuck dogs?
Yeah, I mean, the going rate for a good dog fuck these days is about $30,000 Saudi Arabia.
Damn, you know the rate? Do tell.
Yo, Julius, you're
If
wrong
you
for that,
check
bro.
the Kelly Blue
Fucking
Book, if you check the Kelly Blue Book, the going rate right now is about $30,000, depending on the dog breed. If we're talking about a husky, that's $50,000. That's what these broads is out here getting out here.
Yeah, what we
Yeah, they're getting
we
that-
talking about though? About like a Great Dane though.
Wow, that's sick.
Oh God, oh God.
Yo, that was a serious fucking inquiry. That was like, it's like Great Dane's a big dog, so that might be something like $75,000, $100,000. It's competitive prices out here.
What if he's got a gammy leg though, so his aim's up?
Man, if you see, bro, I'm telling you, I've seen Great Danes that look like freaking mutant dogs. They look like horses, bro. Like them things, man. You gotta get paid at least $300K, man. Them things way too big.
Broads out here is getting it, man. But no, in all honesty, it is annoying how the inspirational quotes. Just be you, bitch. It's a picture of your ass, and I like your ass. I like looking at it. But cut the shit. Like what does the inspirational quote have to do with your ass cheeks? Like nothing.
Oh, I'm an artist. I'm a traveler. I'm a world traveler. All right,
Yo, I'm
whatever.
gonna go onto Instagram right now looking for fucking inspo quotes. Hold on. I love this shit. This fucking cracks me up. And then you'll see the girl on her OnlyFans page. Here, come watch me bathe in my fucking boyfriend's urine while I milk the dog.
Yeah, it's like what the fuck? What kind of mixed up? Like, look, ma, just keep it a bean. Look, you want to see my titties? It's gonna cost you, but you can see them. You just join my only. Like, keep it a bean. There's nothing. I don't view it as nothing wrong selling your feminine wows because that's what God gave you. That's the whole.
Bro, I found the ultimate one. I've seen this a million times. Better an oops than a what if.
I dig it. Like, I dig it. Like, I'm not even mad at them joints. It's just that you trying to make it like you Tony Robbins out here wearing a thong. Like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, bro, I'm just gonna fucking start using inspo quotes as my fucking picture. This is fucking great. Hold on, let's get the fucking slut off of the fucking there. Hold on.
Inspirational. That's what they are.
Yeah, like,
Can you full screen me, Ring?
all right, bet. Let me go. All right. Let me see how I do it again.
You just go down over me where you would remove me, and there's a little box in that area that's up there above the remove
Okay,
section.
I got you.
Add a little confetti to each day.
Oh, and there's probably a picture of her ass crack on that shit.
I'm telling you right now, right, but like in the next picture over when you scroll to the side, she was doing a split upside down.
Yeah, it's goofy shit. Like, look, I know you. Like, I'm gonna say this right. Like the fit girls that you see on Instagram. If you're proud of your body, there's honestly nothing wrong with that. If you're proud of your body, there's nothing wrong with that. But the inspirational quotes are hammy. Like, just be you. You don't want to be you. That's why you
Take
start
me off
fucking
full
out.
screen while you're doing
Exactly.
this.
Yeah, that's
This
a good
feels
point.
so awkward because you're like, just be you. Just be you. If that's your body, it's okay. Add a little confetti to your day, you know?
But it's just funny ass shit. Like, look, if these broads wanted to be them, if they just wanted to be them, you wouldn't be putting injections in your ass. So cut the shit. Cut the shit. You want to be somebody else, mama. That's what you want to be. Get the fuck out of here. Like,
Yeah, it's
They may
okay
have
to be
the-
it's okay to be insecure and have low self-esteem and pay a lot of money to make a lot of money. Do your shit.
Honestly, yo,
Yeah.
thank you for, because that's exactly what I was trying to say in one sentence. It's okay to feel like, yo, you know what? I need a little bit of work. I'm not perfect. None of us are. It's okay to feel that way. It's okay to address the flaws you have. It's okay to be insecure because a lot of people are, but they just give off this shit like, I worked so hard to get my ass to look like, man, bitch, shut up. Be quiet.
Yo, I remember there was this one girl and she had big ass lip injections, right? She went from like flat to full booty in like 2 months, right? And do you know what she said? Oh, my workout this was my workout plan to get these
Yeah,
gains.
like,
Right? And I'm like, what? And literally, like, I seen the first instruction. 16,000 squats a day.
yeah, like it's I don't know why they want to give off the image that, oh, I worked for this. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Just,
She did work for that when she was
man,
over in that
I mean-
when she was over in that fucking bathtub full of fucking piss out in Saudi Arabia, and she was getting paid 75 grand so she can go and get her lip injections. She was being paid for it.
yeah.
She did work for it, bro. She
Yeah.
worked
Well,
hard for
you
that.
heard about
She
the
worked
guy-
harder than a girl going to
Yeah.
the gym and going 1, 2.
You
She
heard-
was
you
fucking
heard about
swimming
the
in
guy-
Saudi piss.
What,
Yo,
you
I
guys,
give credit.
Hold on, let battle go.
All right,
you
go
guys
ahead.
heard about the guy who was I think he was like a bodybuilder, and he injected like cement in his arm, and it
Yeah.
was like I think he was like, oh yeah, now I tried out a new formula or like a new workout routine or something like that, and it was like, what? Like it's about to explode. Like what's
Bro,
going
you
on?
talking about the guy that
They
put
put- they-
synthol. You talking about the guy that put synthol on his arm. It's a couple of guys.
Oh,
like
okay,
that.
synthol. Okay,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
synthol. That I don't know, and I don't know why they do that shit because they look deformed.
Yeah, it looks nasty as hell, bro. That shit don't. It looks crazy.
I don't
And
know
some
why.
of these guys, bro,
I
it's just
think
like
I think they had to
it's like
squeeze
an
it out.
anorexic, bro. It's like an anorexic and shit where they can't see themselves. They still see themselves fat. These muscular
It's
guys.
bigorexia. It's bigorexia. It's
Yeah, they
literally
think-
what it's called.
They don't see themselves muscular enough, no matter how grotesque they look, and they keep going and going and going.
Yeah, but if you gonna do it right. If you gonna put all that synthol in your tricep and your bicep, you gotta put some in your deltoid to even it out. Then you gotta put some in.
The necrosis pains would fucking
And
rip
then
you
you
to
gonna look
shreds.
like
It's-
Broly
it's-
from Dragon Ball Z. You gonna have a huge body and a small head.
Yeah, to be fair though, that'd look good, wouldn't it? Though you just walk out, you just hench your shit, and then you got this little ass head, and you're like, "What up?" I'm sliding in those DMs.
I'm not a Dragon Ball Z guy, but I gotta say Frieza was the flyest motherfucker on the whole Dragon Ball Z.
Oh nah, man, Cell.
That's Cell. Cell, man.
Cell.
Cell
It's
look like a
Cell.
cockroach, bro. He look like a cockroach, like a
Okay, Ring IQ. Is Frieza a boy or a girl? Because I guarantee you don't really know.
I think it's a boy.
It's androgynous.
I always thought it was a boy. Frieza.
Battle out here with that fucking Lord shit, trying to fuck with your head.
Yo, matter of fact, I'm bugging out. I ain't even talking about Frieza. Frieza got a tail. I'm talking about Boo and Majin Buu. That's who I'm talking. I ain't even talking about Frieza. Frieza got that helmet head, right? That he got the purple shit with the lipstick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Frieza. I ain't talking about Frieza. I'm talking about the dude that looked like a sperm cell. That he pink.
Oh yes.
That's who I was because he got the
like a sperm cell.
He got the hammer
God,
pants. He got the hammer pants with the male UGG boots.
Oh shit.
I've been saying that Goku out here fighting motherfuckers with UGG boots on. He got black UGG boots. Look at his
Look,
boots.
bro. At the end of the day, nobody touching no Beerus, bro. Nobody touching Beerus, bro.
You talking about that cat that wear the towel on his head?
Fucking Anubis, bro.
That's Anubis, yeah.
That cat was fucking Goku up, man. I'm tired of seeing Goku get fucked up, man.
Right. Goku the bad,
but he always
to get fucked up so much.
Yo, who do y'all think's the most powerful anime character of all time?
No clue. I have no clue.
Damn, I don't know, man. Because I don't watch anime that much. I remember Goku and Dragon Ball Z because I used to watch that shit early Saturday mornings before the Channel 5 cartoons come on. But I feel Dragon Ball Z is they too overpowered, man. They too overpowered.
Yeah.
The dudes don't got no fucking limits, bro. Like, I have a spirit bomb that could blow up the whole fucking universe. Well, I have a spirit bomb that could blow up your spirit bomb. That, like, man, get the fuck out of here,
Do you
bro.
know who's the most overpowered though, for sure? Just based off of their exercise regime, One Punch Man, because that shit don't make you do that shit. I tried that shit for a while. Yeah, that was a.
I was gonna bring up One Punch Man. Saitama, yeah.
What about Madara?
What about
who? Madara?
Yeah.
You talking from Naruto?
Yeah,
But he's not strong. He's not stronger than Naruto or Sasuke. So
Yeah, when they got to full scale level, especially when like I'm not getting into this shit. That's gotta go on too long.
Yeah. I don't know, bro. I don't know.
I'm gonna say, look. At some point, we have to get back to boxing. I think we're getting away from the boxing.
Well, to be fair, what did you expect when we started talking Maypac? It was always going to end up leading to Instagram girls with dogs and Saudi piss and
That's
and
true.
manga.
No, that
It
is
was always.
Yeah, we got off track there.
No,
But
it's,
to bring it up,
no, it's the truth. The segue
Yeah.
to Saudi Arabian piss and Instagram models is Maypac. It's always been that way.
It's always been
Yeah.
that way, bro.
Always been
It's
that.
always been
I
that
mean,
way.
honestly,
That was the
honestly,
darkest
it's good
time
if
of
we
my
have
life on the
those.
internet.
It's good that we have these conversations because it's not really boxing going on right now. So
No, you're right. You're right. And Superman is the model for all superheroes, and that's why he's my favorite superhero. And I'm not gonna argue about that shit.
He ain't my favorite superhero.
He beat Hulk 3 times. He's the GOAT.
there's a lot
Hulk
of people that
green,
beat
Hulk
Hulk.
green, and have a lot of muscles, man. He ain't nothing.
There's-
He ain't.
there's a lot of
It doesn't
people that
matter.
beat
He's
Hulk,
pretty
actually.
much. He's pretty much a Chernobyl accident.
Yeah, he is. He is.
I think my favorite superhero would probably have to be somebody like Wolverine or probably. I know you can probably say he's not a superhero, but I like Magneto as a hero.
As a
So
character,
Yeah, Magneto's beastie.
I'm gonna say,
yeah,
I'm gonna say the writing for X-Men, right, is too fucking depressing, bro.
It
That's
is. It's
depressing,
fucked up,
like,
bro.
but like I think that's why it's so legendary. It talks about like real world stuff. Like when it comes to Superman and Batman stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, the 80s, the 90s, it got really, 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 really good with the writing. But I think like the legendary
Lee.
writing, it was always going to be X-Men because
Yeah.
just the social stuff that actually can apply to the real world, like people actually seeing mutants that's different than actual humans. That's a real world issue, and that's why I liked it so much. Like I know a lot of people like Watchmen, but I think if you want to go really dark, Watchmen is the way to go because Watchmen is really dark.
Watchmen was real dark shit, like it was. But the shit about the reason I'm gonna say, look, right. DC has more iconic heroes than Marvel does. Marvel has a lot of fun heroes. They're fun characters to draw and to write for. They're fun characters. But if you're talking about the model of superheroes, that's Wonder Woman, man. That's Wonder Woman. That's Batman. That's Superman. Because this is the template that most of Marvel's characters are based on. They're based on He's the first superhero, Superman.
Yeah, that motherfucker had everything too, by the way. Like fucking bulletproof, fucking you can fly at the speed of fucking light, you got laser beams and shit, mate. You got everything.
Cold breath,
Mr. Two-Hand, we cool, but Hulk's power is not limitless, bro. He done got his ass beat by a couple of people. Is he not?
The only thing that
Hulk is one
takes,
of those.
No, the only thing that really takes Superman down a notch is a green rock.
Yeah,
man. And you need to go to another planet to get that shit.
Yeah.
The Hulk. The thing about the Hulk, he's in the same category as like Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah,
they can do some amazing feats. They will lose a lot of fights because of bravado, but you can't kill them. You almost will never kill them.
All right. Let's talk some fucking boxing. Doomsday wipes his whole fucking gray ass with the Hulk. These are facts.
Oh, okay, yeah, he does. But the fact of the matter is, when it comes to Doomsday and Hulk, they will fight forever because they will never die.
No, Hulk will lose steam because when he fought in one of the versions where he fought Superman, right? Superman beat him to the point to where he had like a stroke. So he has limitations. You can't. There are no limitations to Doomsday, bro. Kill this motherfucker. He gonna come back. Kill him.
The fact of the matter is, when it comes to Hulk, he can lose his powers. I think Doom is just. I think they made it in Canada. He's just like finite. It doesn't matter how many times you kill him, he's gonna come back regardless, which is just way massively overpowered. So the thing about Hulk, he will live really long, like he will live really long, like Wolverine, and he will almost never die. But Doomsday is finite. They made that canon. I don't think he used to be, but he's going.
He fucked. Well, at least the story is he fucked Death, and Death likes him because he's funny. So she made him like immortal and shit. Death itself, which goes into a storyline with Thanos.
The thing with the Hulk though is that it all depends on the rage and the fight that he's in, and that's why Two Hands said it's unlimited because I used to read a lot of comic books too. His power is unlimited. If he gets in a situation where the rage keeps going, you can't stop him or you can't kill him. You can't knock him out or anything. He gets as strong as the rage goes. That's his potential.
All right.
So
this is the
really measure it.
This the counter argument for that though. That okay, can he reach his potential fast enough to fight? Forget about Superman because I already know they fought already, and Hulk ain't want to fight yet, and none of them crossovers. He ain't want to fight yet. But he can't get strong fast enough to fight somebody like an Adam Warlock. He can't get strong enough fast enough to fight somebody like a Quasar or Thanos even. Like Thanos will fuck him up without the rings, bro.
No, I'm not so sure about that. I think that's why a lot of people was upset with Endgame because he got his ass beaten. It was the thing about Hulk. Yeah, like I said, he will lose a lot of fights based on bravado. But the fact of the matter is, once you get him angry, he's like literally unstoppable. That's why they call him Incredible Hulk. So there's literally a time when he was holding up mountains in the comics, like real deal holding up mountains. Like who the freak does that? Holding up mountains?
That's basic Superman shit though. That's shit that Superman does on Saturdays.
Superman was holding.
Yeah, like
no, I seen that. I know. That's when Dr. Doom had all of them the super friends trapped under the mountain, and Hulk was holding it up. Wonder Woman, Superman was under the mountain. It was a what if comic book. I know. I remember. I read the comic book that Battle talking about. It was a what if comic book. Dr. Doom had got a hold of the cosmic glove, so he had all kinds of shit to stop Superman. And you know, Superman can be stopped and crippled with different types of kryptonite. All of the super friends, the Justice League, all of them motherfuckers was trapped under the mountain, and the Hulk was the only one still standing, holding half the mountain up. Basically,
let me address Two Hands. All right, yeah, Superman gets beat by a rock, and Hulk is pussy whipped. As soon as Beth come around, he get little again. He get flaccid. He like a flaccid cock. As soon as she come around, he get limp. Like and he
Also, it comes to a certain point when Hulk gets so angry that he's kind of immune to psychic attacks, which seems to be most people's reasons for beating a Hulk. Because I think there was one comic book. Well, it wasn't a psychic attack. It was like there was like one where like Scarlet Witch like mind whammied him, and it was one where, like I think when the Silver Surfer just decided to cure him like in one move. Like it was like it's a bunch of moves that like, I think the people who would have to beat Hulk are usually magic users. Like
I'll say Superman fought that. We ain't got to do the what Superman fought that guy. One of those crossovers was actually fan voted. One of them, you know, the other two were writing, and they had to pick who's gonna win, who's gonna lose. But another one of them was fan votes, and it's like it doesn't stand to reason. Hulk's power is I get upset. If I go to McDonald's and my burger comes back cold, I'm gonna get. That's your power, bro. That's it. You gonna get mad? I'm from Harlem. We laugh at that shit. Oh, Hulk is mad. You mad, bro? You mad, bro? What if somebody did that to the Hulk? You mad, bro? I'm surprised they ain't do something like that yet. It's like Wolverine asked him, "You mad, bro? Don't be mad."
Okay. Well, this is the thing. Okay, once Hulk gets mad enough, like I said, he's like unstoppable. It's really, really, really hard to stop a guy like that. It's to the point where there's a lot of people that say like when it comes to Superman, like it becomes to the fact of how good Superman is at his mental level. Because if Superman just didn't care, he would probably be one of the most powerful heroes ever. But he does care. He doesn't just kill people like that.
Mhm.
Hulk is on a whole nother level. Have you seen Planet Hulk? He will just destroy anything in his path. So like sometimes there's a point where he gets angry enough where he just doesn't care if he kills you or not.
And
I got
get
somebody fucking all of them up. I got somebody fucking all of them up.
Who?
Surfer.
Surfer won't be
Silver Surfer.
Yeah, Silver Surfer did cure Hulk.
Surfer and Superman are on the same power level. Surfer's a strong dude. Like he's a strong dude. But Hulk
Yeah,
is,
right. That motherfucker got cosmic powers.
yeah, like
Hey, listen.
that's a whole nother playing field.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if we're talking comic books like in boxing terms, Marvel vs. DC was a good cross promotion, you
Yeah,
know,
it was.
but like I felt like Superman should have fought Thor.
Nah, Thor. I'm gonna tell you, Thor is not on the level with as far as power goes, right? Thor's not on the level with Hulk. Hulk is a stronger guy than Thor, and they did fight. They did fight. If you look up, my wife bought me this a couple of years ago as a birthday gift. She bought me a crossover that's JLA versus Avengers. Superman knocked Thor out and took his hammer, knocked him clean out like Pacquiao out, like he knocked him out. Thor.
According to most people, Ring IQ, Thor is the strongest Avenger.
I would disagree. He got his ass beat by Ego. I seen Thor get his ass kicked a lot, to be honest, throughout those late.
I mean, Superman got his butt beat a lot.
By who though?
I mean, you got Mongol, you got Darkseid, you got Batman, you got.
Now put it like this. I would pick Darkseid to beat damn near 95% of the Marvel universe.
Okay, good point.
So it's not like, oh, you lost to Darkseid and Darkseid is Joe Tomato Can. Nah, we talking about Darkseid, bro. I'd pick Darkseid to beat Apocalypse. I'd pick.
What about Mongol?
What about Thanos?
What about Mongol?
You know why I don't count Thanos? Because admittedly, Marvel admitted that they basically ripped off Darkseid and made Thanos. Thanos is a Darkseid ripoff. He counterfeit Darkseid.
And Thanos' glove, Infinity Gauntlet, doesn't work within DC universe. That was actually explained. It only works within the realm of Marvel's universe, which is the basically crux of Thanos' best power.
Yeah, that's his best fucking shit. If you put him in the Marvel universe, in the DC universe, he Joe Tomato Can. You get his ass beat. Flash should fuck around and beat him. Look, stop talking about Batman like Batman is fucking Tony Stark without his armor, or like Batman is Spider-Man without his web gauntlets. All right, you talking about fucking Batman, bro? Batman. It's different.
Man, I'm gonna be completely honest. I like Batman, but I cannot stand how people overrate this guy to the fullest degree. Saying he can beat just about anybody. He can beat Superman. Like it.
Nah. Listen, bro. With the prep, if you look up the comic, the one I just mentioned that my wife bought me. If you look up the comic, Batman is throwing hands with Captain America and he's holding his own. In the comic, he told Captain America, "Yo, look, B, it's conceivable that you could beat me, but it's going to take you a very long time. So let's stop fighting each other and let's find out what's going on here." It's not that Batman is invincible. It's that don't give this motherfucker time to prepare, because if he does, he's gonna beat you. He's smarter than you.
But everybody used that argument. That's why I cannot stand the. Okay, let me say I can't stand. There's a level of writers. Once they took Batman to the next level, they start increasing him tenfold. And the best thing about Batman was he was relatable. He was human. He has certain weaknesses I can relate to. I don't want him to be. I don't want him to be the weakest of the group. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he was relatable in the sense that he was weak. Now I'm not older than you guys. I'm not gonna pretend that I was growing up at the time when Batman was going through this character shift. It's just the fact of the matter. They make him too OP because everybody says if Batman has prep time, he can beat anybody. Like no, like nobody uses that. Nobody uses that same logic with Lex Luthor. So why do you use that with Batman?
All right, can I say this? From a writing standpoint, what makes Batman a fun character to write for is you have to keep up that bar of standard. So if I tell you I'm gonna write a comic where Batman is fighting Wolverine, the fun part of writing that comic is how the fuck is Batman gonna beat Wolverine? That's what makes him such a dynamic character, that it's already there. That look, Batman's smarter than Wolverine. He's arguably a better fighter than Wolverine because Wolverine lost hella fucking fights. Like, yo, you not that nice with your hands, bro. You just got a good combination of powers. You really ain't that nice. Batman don't got no adamantium. He don't have no healing factor, but he out here getting busy with motherfuckers that got powers. So I'm telling you, don't give this man no chance to prepare because he's already a better fighter than you are. Batman is pound for pound number 2. Don't argue with me.
Who's number one? Who's number one?
He said, "Don't argue with me." I'm saying,
IQ, pound for pound, who's number one?
Pound for pound, number 1 is Superman because he's the Sugar Ray Robinson of the list. He is the character that all other superheroes are derived from, and that's not my opinion.
You who's number 1, Ring IQ.
I got an argument. Pound for pound, number 1. I'm talking about with fighting though. Like pound for pound, number 1. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, D.
Spider-Man.
Nah.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I say this. Let me tell you why I say this. You look at Spider-Man and look at the respect you gave to Batman, right? If you look at Spider-Man and look at the guys on the level that he fights, you understand what I'm saying? Like Spider-Man, like 30 tons. Guys that he fuck with is like 200-300 tons, bro. But he still be banging with them.
I'm gonna say, look, I watched Spider-Man get knocked out by motherfuckers like the Shocker, Dr. Octopus, fucking. It's like these is Joe Tomato cans. Like, bro, you fighting level guys.
In comparison to Batman villains, the Spider-Man villains are way stronger.
Nah, I can't. All right. You tell me, Battle, which villain in the Spider-Man, and don't say fucking Venom. Please don't say, because that's a cop-out. That is a cop-out.
Okay, go ahead.
The Joker isn't just some crazy motherfucker. This dude is a mad fucking genius, bro. He's a mad genius, this guy.
Well, if you're talking about, the genius intellect, of course, Batman villains got it. I'm saying
Octopus was a genius, right?
Who?
I'm saying the power level of Spider-Man villains are way higher than Batman's villains.
All right, give me Bane versus Dr. Octopus. Bane wins that fucking fight.
No way.
No, I wouldn't say that.
No way. Those arms will rip Bane apart, dog.
I feel Bane.
Okay, Doc Ock is human. I mean, I can't. He's not superhuman. Like he's human. He has this.
Someone got echo, man.
That's battle right.
I think Batman's number 1.
Is it?
Batman's pound for pound number 1.
He's pound for pound, bro. He has the WB magazine.
I can tell you who's pound for pound number 1. It's not Batman or Superman.
Who's it going to be?
I think it's Batman.
It's the Flash.
Come on, bro. Get the fuck time travel because of the time travel, right?
Bro, he can literally erase you from existence.
Bro, that's like saying Squirrel Girl number 1.
No. The thing about him, he can actually forget about just taking you out. He can actually pull you into a dimension that you can't get out of.
Yeah, but Ant-Man could do that. He could take you to the quantum realm.
Yeah, okay. Ant-Man can do that, but that relies on the realm of his suits. Flash can do it, like he can do that all. That relies on the realm of his suits. I think Adam is probably, you could probably make a statement that Adam is more powerful than Ant-Man.
Nah, man.
But bro, the one above all, he number 1 pound for pound. What y'all talking about?
This is what the Flash is so good. Like, the fact of the matter is, what he could do just bend times itself. Like, the dude can just do within astronomical feats. And you have to be fair. Let's just be fair. Like, it's comic books, but let's just be fair. Nobody is going to be able to track somebody like the Flash. If Flash just say, if let's say somebody calls Flash out to a fight, be like, okay, we're gonna fight, let's do this. Flash can decide I can run away, grab something, come back, run away, grab. You're not going to be able to catch the Flash, bro. Like there's
all right. Now to your point, there are those who have kept up with the Flash. Superman beat Flash in a race. These are facts.
No. Actually, it was Flash. It was Flash who won that one. Are you talking about the TV show?
No. I'm talking about the comic. In the comic, when they race, Superman won a race.
Are you sure?
Superman was flying. He wasn't even really running.
Well, they didn't say how. They didn't say what he had to be doing to beat him. They was just measuring who was faster. I'm about to look that shit up right now.
Yeah,
I thought it was
Flash. His son, he powerful than all them. From the Fantastic Four, his son was powerful than all them. He number 2 pound for pound. Number 1 is the one above all. He number 1. He is stronger than every.
Oh yeah. I forgot about
the one above all. He defeats everybody. Flash, anybody you name and think of, makeup or whatever, he destroys them.
Bro, all I gotta do to Flash is just throw a little rock at his ass while he running, and it's a wrap, bro. Imagine how fucking hard he's gonna fall tripping over a little rock, bro. He gonna end up in the hospital.
He gonna be dead.
He gonna be dead.
Okay, I know that was muted.
Let me mute. All I'm saying is, if we talking about hand skills, right? Hand skills that like it ain't just breaking down the power. You got hands. Batman is up there, dog. He trained under Eddie Futch and Freddie Roach.
Look, this is the thing.
Batman up there.
This is the thing about Batman. People are so insistent, like, oh, we're prep time. Why don't people use that same logic with Lex Luthor?
Because Lex Luthor all right, the reason that people don't use that logic with Lex is he has more or less the same means as Batman. He's a very rich guy, very intelligent guy. He's a good engineer. He knows about technology and shit like that. But the shit you be doing, it don't ever go nowhere, bro. It's like you the Adrian Broner of bad guys. He was
the president. He was the president of the United States.
In an alternate universe. That's the only way you're going to be president, if we leave our universe and go to somebody else's.
Well, things came into play. He decided maybe people have different mindsets in different universes. Maybe he decided that Superman was the one he needed to go after at one point in one universe. In another universe, he decided maybe it was another way. You know, that's how universes work.
And Lex Luthor like Loki in Marvel. They like one and the same. They not the best fighters, but they can outwit your ass so good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's fair.
And you can make the statement that Lex Luthor is smarter than Batman.
I don't know about that. Because why don't Lex Luthor's plans, like, bro, you gave your motherfucking self cancer fucking with them green rocks. You can't be that smart. Superman would have wore
he created Bizarro.
But and that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Wait a minute. Bizarro is literally the opposite Superman. That's like, imagine trying to beat somebody like Bizarro.
I'm saying you made a Down syndrome Superman. You supposed to get props for that?
No.
That's like saying I burnt the rice. That's like saying I was gonna cook rice and I burnt the rice, but I should get props because y'all eating it. Like, nah, bro, you made a retard.
Okay, but think about it. Weaknesses, if you're taking those into account, he doesn't get weak from green kryptonite. It's blue kryptonite, and who's gonna find it? You can't really find it because Lex Luthor is the only person who really has it.
It's look. He gets an A for effort for Bizarro, but in the greater scheme of things, Doomsday would beat Bizarro, wouldn't you say? He beat Bizarro. Bizarro too dumb to get Bizarro.
How is Doomsday going to work for the heroes though? That means you got to defeat Bizarro and Doomsday.
Well, this is what I mean. Okay, let's say it's Superman versus Bizarro. I mean, Superman versus Doomsday, Bizarro versus Doomsday. Stupid ass Bizarro going to keep fighting this motherfucker and making him stronger. Superman to figure out a way around that. Oh,
that is a good point. Yeah.
Like Bizarro Bizarro's he's that kid in the class that got retard strength that he just sit in the corner and he go winning hat. He go winning hat.
Yeah, Julius. Let me bring it back to boxing. You know how Adonis Stevenson was Superman?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree that Kovalev was Doomsday?
You know what?
Shit, when you say Wolverine, man, and Pacquiao?
I'm gonna say that. Manny fucking Pacquiao was Wolverine because he got L's like Wolverine had L's.
Exactly.
But he bounced back. I'm gonna say, to be honest, the way I always looked at that fight, I viewed Stevenson as a bigger puncher than Kovalev. I felt like, yo, this dude is destructive. Like he could hit you one time and put you clean out. But I felt like Kovalev's jab was gonna be the difference.
Yeah. I would have loved to see that fight, man.
Well, now we'll never get to see. We'll never know. We'll never know.
Yeah. That's done with.
You could probably say that Adrian Broner is Damien from Batman. He's the guy that's supposed to be an apprentice, but a lot of people didn't really like it at one point.
Not Adrian Broner is Rogue from the X-Men. You just want to touch people and you always crying about some shit and you want all this potential. He's Rogue, bro. He's Rogue.
Yeah, it's like his energy, like it's just draining people.
Yeah. He take all the fucking energy right out of boxing match. Like, just get the fuck out of here.
Fury got to be the juggernaut just off looks.
I'm the juggernaut, bitch.
Yeah, well, that was my favorite thing in that shit. I'm the juggernaut, bitch.
That boy hustle forever. Remixing some sounds.
Yeah, that's why I'm going in and out on my mic. I'm outside because inside my house they redoing my bathroom and shit. It's noise in here. I'm outside, so every time I say something, I mute. You know what I'm saying? So y'all don't catch that wind and that feedback and shit.
Let me go jump off because I also want to play, NBA 2K, man. It's nice talking to you guys.
Hold on, who play NBA 2K? You need to come on here with me so I can beat that ass.
Oh, you on PS4?
Yeah, I'm playing right now.
Okay. What's your gamer tag?
It's 804 now. I'm gonna go to my channel, Speak Your Mind Sports Talk, and look at the community tab. I got my game tag in there.
All right, cool. I'll add you.
All right.
Yeah,
I already added him too.
Yeah, we gonna wrap this live up. So I guess we all agree that Floyd has a better legacy than Manny. Thanks for playing, guys.
All right.
I love you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm glad we was able to. I'm glad Ahmed agrees with me that Floyd has a better legacy than Manny. Thanks, guys.
We got it, bro.